What is up, Buffalo Fanatics? Z-Bot, Rico. It's Rico in Bot on the Buffalo Fanatics YouTube channel on a Friday night. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Memorial Day weekend, a long weekend for everyone. I don't know what it's like in your neck of the woods. The weather is atrocious. You'd never know it's Memorial Day weekend. 45 and raining out, but summer's almost here, Rico. It's a holiday weekend. How's the weather up where you're at? Decent, or what's the deal?
It is absolutely beat trash. It's trash. Yeah. It's been the last 2 days. It's been so gloomy. It's got people in bad moods. Like the kids are in a bad mood. I mean, my little guy's walking around just creating havoc. I was like, oh, listen, we need to get this guy outside because he's destroying this house. So no, it hasn't been great. So hopefully in the next coming days, we start to get some sunshine, man. We need that. We deserve it.
So tomorrow, the first Dave Matthews show of the 2025 tour, and it just so happens to be an hour down the road at historic Bethel Woods, the site of Woodstock in 1969, and me and Carolina, of course, will be in attendance. But it's an outdoor show, Rico, and it's going to be 45 and raining. That's what we got on our plate this weekend for Memorial Day, that type of weather.
Well, I guess we got to cancel Dave Matthews Band, no?
No. Nothing cancels Dave Matthews Band. Other than COVID. That was crazy. I'll never forget, middle of COVID, we were out, or not middle of COVID, like right as it was starting, we were out in my buddy's place in Florida. We had flown all the way out there. We're driving to the show, and one of the bandmates got it, and the show got canceled, and that was the only time that's ever happened to me. But a little rain will not rain on the Dave parade. We will be in attendance. What are you doing this weekend, though? Any plans this weekend, or are you guys just hanging?
What is the plan? So the plan, well, listen, in the next weeks, the daughter officially graduates from university. So she's done her 4 years.
How you feeling about that, man?
It's new, man. It's weird. This is new territory for me. So I don't know how I'm supposed to react. It's not like this is not high school graduation. This is a big deal. So I gotta fly into Hamilton and then do the festivities for the day, because I said I'd be there, and it's a 1 day thing. So I gotta fly in. And then we fly back out, and then my mom's coming to visit a few days after that. So it's going to be busy. The end of July is going to be June is going to be busy. But for the most part, man, we're chilling, brother. We're chilling. Now, mini camp is around the corner as well. Woo! We're going to find out what's good. And there's a lot that's going to be riding on this season. And it starts with these little mini camps. And so whatever you have planned, get it out the way. I mean, camp, it's a little too early to really celebrate summer. But this gives us a taste going into the offseason, this mini camp with the rookies, with the players. Should be fun times.
Speaking of fun times, speaking of plans, we got our plans secured for week 3 of the 2025 NFL season, and it's going to be off the charts. Rico and I will be joining the Roundtable Sports fellas, Richie, TD, Kobe, and our main man, Dan Mitchell, in Buffalo for the week 3 showdown between the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins on Thursday Night Football. The Roundtable fellas were kind enough to include us in their first ever event in Buffalo. I've been to the ones at MetLife for the Bills-Jets games. They've done a few of them. This is the first in Buffalo, and Rico and I will be in attendance. We want you to be in attendance too. The link to buy tickets is pinned in the live chat right now. It's also in the description below. It'll take you to this website. Here it is. Here's the details. Like I mentioned, week 3, the night before the game, there will be a live show at Southern Tier Brewery in Buffalo. Rico and I will be a part of that. And then, of course, the next day, Thursday, tailgating all day at an exclusive tailgate event where there will be all of the amenities provided to everybody who attends. And then here's the best part. By the way, Rico, we even got our own little special section here on the website.
Talk about it.
Look at it right on the website. Special guests join Z-Bot and Rico from Buffalo Fanatics for added excitement and insider vibes. There's 2 things that I can describe us as. It's exciting and insider vibe-ish. We got nothing but the insider vibes. So at the event, You have the tailgate, the live show at the tailgate, which is great. But this is the best part, and this is really where you get your bang for your buck.
Talk about it.
The ticket includes a seat with everybody, so you'll be sitting with Rico and I and all the fellas for the game, but not just any seat. We will be sitting in the Caesars Sports Book Lounge, a suite, 40 seats reserved, all of us together for a massive Thursday night showdown with the division rival Miami Dolphins. Rico, how stoked are you for this event? It's going to be killer.
I tell you what, I don't think we're ready for how jacked up it's going to be. We've been talking about going to a Bills game for so long, and now you have an ability to hang out with your boy Bot, with your boy Rico, you know what I'm saying, with your boy Dan Mitchell's going to be, and listen, we're all hanging out as we whoop on the Dolphins. Are you kidding me? Fam, listen, I don't know about y'all, but y'all better go get your tickets. I'll tell you right now, you know who is going to be there? You want to announce who's going to be there?
Oh, I'll let you do the honors because you announced it to me and it made my day.
Well, listen, we have countless, and I said countless amount of people that support BF, that support myself, but the brand, right? He's that fan favorite. Jeff King is going to be in the building.
The
Jeff
Kinger
is going to be in the building. He was like, you know what? I heard about this. This is the opportunity to hang out, be with the boys, watch our team play in the stadium. Listen, how do you not enjoy a good time with your boys? Come on through. Listen, how many tickets left? A lot? Enough? A little bit?
That's the key. There's only 10 tickets remaining. That's it. Once they're gone, they're gone. Once again, link pinned at the top of the live chat, link in the description. There's only 10 left. When they're gone, they're gone. And I think it's a killer deal because not only do you get that all-inclusive tailgate, which is great. You don't have to bring anything. You just show up and it's all there. But that suite, I mean, how often are you going to be sitting with all the fellas in a suite nonetheless? And you just nailed it on the head, Rico. It's the last season at the Ralph. You're never going to have an opportunity to do this again. So if you're on the fence about it, pull the trigger. It's going to be a blast. I see my man Eric in the chat. He's going. He's already bought his tickets.
Hey,
he's
Eric.
Attending. Jeff King, as mentioned, will be there. I think I got to get Dan to put Jeff King's name on that special guest list. Maybe we'll have Jeff King come up and do a number for us or something. We got to get him to do something. But it's going to be great, and we really hope that anybody who can attend will attend. And if you can't attend the event, but you're going to the game, let us know that too. We'd like to meet as many people as possible because Rico and I are in agreement here with that. We just love putting faces to names, getting to know you guys even more than we already do, and it's always a ball getting to link up at any event like this. And
I'll say one more thing because I'll be joined as well by Kevin. Kevin and I are coming down. He's a Dolphins fan. You guys know that, and you guys have seen Kevin, you know what I mean, on our shows and contributing and all that good stuff. So one thing that I mean, listen, I'm talking all this stuff. I got to remind Kevin about that because if we keep promoting like this, there ain't gonna be no tickets left for my man Kevin. So I got to send that brother a message ASAP to let him know, get on it so we can get to the game together, have a good old time. If you guys really want to enjoy it and you're Buffalo and you haven't met Bot, you haven't met myself, we've only spoken, we've only chatted with one another. This is your opportunity to hang out. I mean, we ain't anything special. I mean, we're just regular.
No, but we're a good time. We'll have a good time, especially if the Bills win. If the Bills win, we'll have a good time. Yes. The cherry on top here, by the way, the cherry on top, if the Bills dominate, and I hope they do, I expect them to, you get to watch them dominate in front of Kevin and in front of TD. And if that ain't the cherry on top, then I don't know what is, because that would just be the icing on the cake of a terrific evening, Rico. So looking forward to it.
I think you're bang on. I just sent a message to Kevin now. I said, buddy, you better get on it before everybody else gets on it. So let's roll. Listen, we're going to have a good time, folks. We're going to have a good time, so join us.
No doubt. All right, so a lot to get into tonight. Well, who do we got? John? Johnny's saying Cavs were exactly right. See, he understands.
He gets it. He gets it.
Yeah,
love every bit.
One of the added bonuses, right, where you get to watch the Dolphins and inevitably Tua when he throws the game sealing interception. You know, you get to witness that.
You didn't have to do them like that. You didn't have to do them like that.
Maxwell Harrison, his new favorite receiver, will be sealing the game for us on Thursday Night Football Week 3.
Love it.
Hopefully.
Love every bit of it.
All right, so Rico, we got a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to dive into the Bills, of course, being elected to be on Hard Knocks. Interested to get your thoughts on that. The newly introduced Protector of the Year award, spearheaded by none other than Bills left tackle Dion Dawkins. We'll talk about that. Kaiir Elam had some things to say about the Dallas Cowboys that might have seemed, I don't know, depending on how you read it, comparing it to the Buffalo Bills. What you read into that, we'll take a peek at what he had to say.
Definitely have to talk on that because I'm curious of your thoughts on that, but we'll get into all that as well. Oh, yes.
Yeah, so we got a lot. But tonight we want to start off with the top 10 most important players to the future of the Buffalo Bills. Now, if you didn't know, every year for the last 5 years, I've participated in a project with Joe Marino and a bunch of other fellas. And the goal of the project, everybody involved sends in a ballot of their top 10 players listed from number 1 being the most important all the way down to 10. Their top 10 most important players to the future of the Buffalo Bills. Now, you're able to interpret that however you want, whatever future means to you. I've always looked at it as the 10 most important players in order for the Buffalo Bills to win a Super Bowl. But you can look at it in a variety of different ways, and that's what's unique about the project. And what's even more unique about it is that every year it changes drastically. The only player that's been featured within the top 5 every single year has been Josh Allen. That's how just crazy and kind of how, sort of all over the place these lists can be year in and year out. But welcome to the NFL. That's exactly what happens on an annual basis. So I just completed this project this past week. If you haven't watched it, when we're done here tonight, make sure to go over to Locked On Bills, where I'm sure you already had to, as is. And Joe Marino has the episodes up. It's called Top 10 Most Important Players. There's a segment where we list off the top 10 players in order. And then there's a segment where everybody talks about a piece correlated to their personal response. And we'll talk about mine in a minute here, because I thought my question
I'm curious to know what route you took and how you took this down. Okay, we'll talk.
And I'm very curious for yours as well, because I thought I got hit with a pretty tough question, and I'm glad Joe kind of came at me with one that was challenging, because it was tough to dive into it. But I liked the way I phrased it, and I think it felt true to kind of how I reached my ballot. But anyhow, here were the top 10 players according to the list of from the 2025 members on the project in order. You ready for this?
So these are the top 10 most important players to the season. Is that what that is?
To the future of the Buffalo Bills. So like I said, you can interpret that however. My interpretation has always been the top 10 most important players for the Bills to win a Super Bowl and also to sustain the success they currently have. That's how I usually view it. The top 10 players that are going to be contributing the most towards winning a Super Bowl and towards maintaining this level of success the Bills have had under Josh Allen. So in order, 1 through 10, here is how the results played out.
Are you going to go 10 all the way down to 9?
Would you like me to start at 10?
I'd like that.
Okay, I like that. Number 10 was Ed Oliver. Last year, just to give you an example of how crazy things change year to year, last year, Ed Oliver was 3rd on the list. And I have a feeling the multitude of defensive tackle additions the Buffalo Bills made this offseason might have knocked Ed Oliver down towards the bottom. Now, granted, this isn't my personal list. This is the consensus list. We'll get into mine, and then, of course, we'll get Rico's as we talk through it. But number 10 was Ed Oliver. Number 9, prior to even playing a snap for the team, is the new first-round cornerback, Maxwell Hairston, the 9th player on the list. Number 8, Dalton Kincaid. Number 7, Khalil Shakir. Number 6, Terrell Bernard. Number 5, Spencer Brown. Number 4, Christian Benford. Number 3, Dion Dawkins. Now, obviously, number 1 is a given. Who do you think number 2 is? Out of everybody I've listed, who do you think is going to be number 2 there?
James Cook.
Wow, do I got some bad news for you. Number 2 is Greg Rousseau. And number 1, of course, unanimously, and has been for the last several years, is Josh Allen. James Cook did not make the list, Rico. In fact, out of all of the 14 members of the panel, only one person included James Cook in their top 10 most important players to the future of the Buffalo Bills, and I was not one of them. Your initial thoughts on that there?
Who was number 5?
So the top 5 again. Number 5 was Spencer Brown.
Okay,
Number
Spencer Brown.
4, Christian Benford.
Got it. Benford.
Number 3, Dion
Dawkins.
2, Groot. Number 1, 17. Your initial thoughts on the consensus top 10.
So Max Hairston as a rookie made this list. Interesting.
I should note, every first-round draft pick the Bills have taken since we've done this project has been on the list initially after being drafted. Which is
totally fine. Ed Oliver being at 10 is fascinating, but I'm not surprised by it. I mean, we went ahead and not only drafted one defensive lineman in the interior, but we drafted 2. So I can see how he's dropped down from number 3. Would I go as far as down to put him as number 10? Not so sure. But I can understand why, because it's the numbers game. It's understandable. Hairston being number 9, I'll take it. He's a first-round draft pick. It makes sense. He's got to be on the list. Can't be too high. He's important to this team. We got to find out how he plays. Number 9. Number 8, Kincaid. 7 and 8 you can flip-flop whichever how you want to look at it. But Kincaid being there at 8 makes sense. Down year in year 2, away we go. Shakir, Bernard at 6. I'm okay with that. Spencer Brown at 5, Benford at 4. I mean, it makes sense. I probably would have. Greg Rousseau being at 2. Fascinating. Let's talk about it. We got to talk about it. I'm just going through the list and kind of taking a peek and seeing how things go. So who did you have to represent?
So I'll give you my list. Everybody sends in a top 10. That was the consensus top 10. So how you reach the consensus is you take everybody's ranking, and then whoever gets the most votes for a particular slot within the top 10 ends up within that slot. So we all send in a top 10. I want you to make yours as I am sharing mine. I'm going to screenshot mine here so that I can share it with you guys visually so that you can take a peek here at what I came up with. It's always very tough because the Bills, of course, have become a team outside of Josh Allen that have been very communal based, right? This team is not dependent on any one other player other than Josh Allen. And that's as far as it goes. And we know that's just inevitable. That's essentially what the team is. And if Josh Allen were to go down, well, then the team's going to go down too. So it's really hard to kind of arrange these players from 2 to 10 because of how by committee the Buffalo Bills seem to be. Now, with that said, here is my list. Number 1, Josh Allen.
Can we zoom that in or not?
Yeah, let me see if I can.
Just for the viewers, so they can see it.
Let me see if I can.
You were there. You were almost there. Oh, yeah, we're getting there.
Is that better?
It's as good as it's going to get.
Yeah, I know. Why it just this thing does not. There we go. Here we go.
There we go. Now we're talking. Now we're talking.
Here is my top 10 most important players to the future of the Buffalo Bills. Number 1, Josh Allen. Number 2, Dion Dawkins. Number 3, Spencer Brown. Number 4, Ed Oliver. In hindsight, I want to say I feel like I did have Ed Oliver a touch high, especially after seeing the consensus. I did feel at the time I might have been putting him a bit too high, not factoring in entirely the amount of additions the Bills made at the position. But I still value Ed Oliver as easily one of the most important players to the future. Terrell Bernard at number 5. Rousseau at number 6. The rookie, Maxwell Harrison at 7. Christian Benford at 8. TJ Sanders, the rookie, at 9. And Khalil Shakir at number 10. That was my top 10 most important players to the future of the Buffalo Bills. And you'll notice there's a few names on there that are notably absent. And the question that I was posed with that I had to explain myself on was why I was one of only 4 members to not include Dalton Kincaid on my top 10 most important players. And you'll notice of the notable guys left off, no Kincaid, no James Cook, no Keon Coleman. So those were probably the 3 big names left off. And then right in front of you, of course, is the top 10 that I ended up coming up with. Your initial thoughts on my top 10 and how you view it.
All right. So let's talk about who you left off the list. So Kincaid, you said you left off. Cook. And you had one more you said you left off. That was pretty
Coleman, important.
Keon. Okay. First of all, I can understand why you didn't have Kincaid on the list. Okay. And it was part of what I talked about today on the Bleacher Report. And I was talking about guys that need to have a breakout year, guys that we have high expectations for. And Kincaid was the absolute number one guy I was watching. He's going into his third year. And year 3 is usually when people break out. If he remains the same or nothing looks like it's improved, how do you see him being part of the future, right? You'll just have to just focus on the receiver room, the O-line, and the running back room, and just have a guys like Dawson Knox be there, right? Which they're very good, above average, serviceable, and cool. So I understand that part. Kincaid being off. But I also can question and be like, hold on, he's one of the young pieces. Mm-hmm. If he gets it together this year, how do you not have him part of the future? They drafted him with the first freaking round. So how are you going to disrespect the guy and say, I don't see him part of the future? That tells me you don't believe in Kincaid. You think he's a fraud. And I'm calling you out. You think he's a fraud and you don't want him on the list. That's number one. You can rebuttal after I'm done with you. All right? That's number one. I see. Well, wipe that smirk off your face, number one. That's another thing. Okay? Number 2, you don't have James Cook on there. I understand why you wouldn't have James Cook. I would have had James Cook on there because I truly believe he's one of the better backs in this game. I truly believe that I think Beane does really want to sign him, but he had a pecking order of guys he needed to sign. Plus, they drafted Ray Davis. So I kind of want to see what this second year, a full season at the RB2 position, how it's going to look. And how does James Cook deal with adversity? However, on the flip side, when you look back at the 90s Bills, it was Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, right? The big trio. You got to have some kind of a trio on the offense side of the ball. So James Cook presents a back-to-back Pro Bowler, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and he had less than 225 touches both seasons. So he's still got fresh legs. So they haven't really utilized him the way they should. So why wouldn't you make him part of this team where he's dynamic? So I see that. But the fact that they didn't pay him tells us the shelf for running backs, bye-bye. We'll just get one in the draft. Just like we have Ray Davis time. So I can understand why you don't have Cook on there. I can respect that. Keon Coleman. Now that is fascinating because we complain about the receivers we don't have on the squad. And yet we have a guy that we invested a second-round draft pick on that in 2 games showed you a lot of promise, but then got hurt. There was a lot of promise in that. How do you not see him being part of the future? Take a look at what's on the receiving crew. Curtis Samuel, you have Khalil Shakir that most people like, and I think will have a good part in this. Josh Palmer, we have no idea how he's going to present himself. I think he'll do well. Elijah Moore, we just brought him in, so there's a lot of uncertainty. The one guy, the tenured guy on the team, is Khalil Shakir. All the other guys are like, let's see what you got. So the fact that you keep him off when he's going into his second year in an important year, no combine, no having to prepare and do all this stuff. This is straight focusing on football. How do you keep him on the list? But yet, you put the rookie Hairston on the list. I know he was drafted in the first round. Or better yet, TJ Sanders you have on the list.
Damn
he
right.
hasn't done diddly squat. And you're going to put TJ Sanders as part. What if TJ Sanders is a bust and Ed Oliver is the real deal? Like he goes through the test of time. He actually, presents himself as that guy. But you put TJ Sanders over Keon Coleman. Shame on you. And explain yourself.
A lot to dive into. And this is why this project is so great. And this is why it's so interesting because so many of the ballots are so different. They're just so vast. In fact, even though we condense it down to 10 players, Rico, there were 15 different players, I believe. No, sorry. There were 20 different players that were mentioned in and without one of the 14 panel members' top 10 players. 20 different players. So it goes to show you that there's a wide range in terms of the perspective on people and how they view the importance for these players moving forward. So there's a lot to address here right now. I saw someone.
Absolutely. I give you a hard time purposely.
And I'm glad you did because this is the beauty of it. I'm dying to see where you got yours too because I got to take my moment.
I'm going to try to do mine on the fly as you talk.
Yes. So first things first. Alan saying you got Oliver way too high. I couldn't agree more. After I submitted the ballot, it was the first thing I regretted. I think if I could go back in looking at my list, what I would have done is I would have swapped Greg Rousseau and Ed Oliver. I don't think I took into account enough the amount of additional defensive tackle bodies that they added into the squad this year. And I know that Ed Oliver was decent last year, but he wasn't as good as the year prior. But the way I view Ed Oliver, if he can somehow emerge into another level, I do think that for the future of the Buffalo Bills, there isn't much more important for this team in order to get to a Super Bowl than having a stout defensive tackle and a stout defensive line overall. That's why I view him so highly. And that's kind of looking at him through the lens of if he can get to a point where he's unquestionably DT number one, and we're talking about all these other guys and we're not even thinking about them, or we're thinking about them, but they're an afterthought compared to Oliver. That's kind of where I see him within the scope of the top 10. But your question to me, so let's go one by one here. Give me your first question for me that you'd like me to answer.
First of all, Kincaid, how do you not see Kincaid as being part of the future? He had a solid first year, over 600 yards receiving, 70 reception. He had I think it was like 90 something targets. So clearly a part of Josh's ability to like depend on somebody else other than Ed Oliver, Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. Second year clearly was hurt. Mm-hmm. So then he's off the list. How dare you? Why is he off the list?
So this was the question in part 2 of the project. You have to answer a question that Joe comes up with to kind of correlate back to your personal list. Joe asked me, why were you one of only 4 members? Now, granted, there were 3 other people that left Kincaid off as well. So I wasn't the lone wolf, which I was kind of shocked by. I thought maybe I would be. But I was posed with the question of, kind of putting my money where my mouth is. Talk me through why, as you're asking me right now, Rico, Dalton Kincaid was left off. There were a few reasons. One, if you notice going back to my list, there are only 4 offensive players on my list. 4. That's it. And ironically enough, 3 offensive players are my top 3 most important players, even though I only have 4 total. Number 1, Josh Allen. That doesn't need an explanation. But number 2 and number 3, Dion Dawkins and Spencer Brown. To me, this offense is only going to be able to operate at the level in which it did last year if this offensive line continues to play at the clip in which it is. We knew that the Bills' offensive line needed to improve in order for this offense to fully ascend to a level that we knew Josh Allen could get to. And we saw that happen. You have Spencer Brown and Dion Dawkins anchoring this line down. And what that resulted in last year was a league low in sacks, an historic turnover rate for Josh Allen compared to what we were used to with him as well. That's what, when you factor that in, it's even more crazy. And we're also talking about an offense that scored 31 points per game last year. Josh Allen wins the MVP behind that offensive line. James Cook leads the league in touchdowns behind that offensive line. To me, the offense as it stands is predicated on the ability for the offensive line to continue to play at the level that it is. And nobody's more important on that line than Dion Dawkins and Spencer Brown. The only other offensive player I have is Khalil Shakir, and that's at number 10. The rest is all defensive players. So it's a 6-4 ratio in favor of the defensive players. Khalil Shakir has to be on there for an obvious reason, and that is right now he is far and away the best weapon that the Buffalo Bills currently have. But beyond that, as of right now, he's the only consistent proving passing target, I would say, for Josh Allen, to where you know exactly what you're going to get. He is Josh Allen's most reliable target. And he's the guy right now that when you view the Bills' offense and you view their passing game, he is threat number 1. And that, to me, is why he has to, of course, be on the list. And I saw some people in the comments, and I totally understand, saying he should be way higher. But this is kind of how I view this offense right now. And it goes back to what happened last year. And this is where Dalton Kincaid ultimately was left off. 2 reasons. 1, I view the defense right now to be the most important aspect of the future of the Buffalo Bills in terms of winning a Super Bowl. The Bills offensively have been good enough to win the Super Bowl for the last handful of years. Defensively, they have not been. And we know that the Bills defense in the playoffs has come up short. And we know the Bills defense in particular against the Kansas City Chiefs have faltered and have been the primary reason why they have not been able to get over the hump. And despite the fact that Josh Allen has insane playoff numbers, this defense, despite having their moments, by the way, I don't want to completely rip on the D. I mean, they stepped up in the Ravens game. They've had their moments. But as a whole, I think we can all agree that the defense has the bulk share of the blame on why the Bills have not at least reached a Super Bowl yet. And that's why, to me, the bulk of this list needs to be defensive players, because if we're talking about getting to a Super Bowl, the defense is the most important aspect of that. I already have enough faith in the offense to get me there. Can the defense take that next step? Because as I've mentioned, if the Bills defense can improve even by 15%, I think that that's enough for this Bills team to have an argument as the best team in the AFC and get to a Super Bowl. So that's one reason why Kincaid's left off. There wasn't enough room. The other reason, of course, is the other four players that I have on there that are offensive. That, to me, right now, Rico, is the absolute core of the Bills' offense. So I view the defense to be more important right now because I think that that's the area that needs to improve the most in order for this team to get to that level. Now, offensively, those four players, to me, are the absolute core. If you lose one of those guys, I think that the offense changes to a point where you're not feeling all that great. But when you have those four guys, as seen last year, this offense can be one of the best in the league, if not the best. Your two best offensive linemen anchoring one of the best offensive lines in the league, maybe the best quarterback in the league, and the Bills' number one wide receiver. So how does Dalton Kincaid get left out of the shuffle here? Well, last year, I watched these Buffalo Bills, and this is where it all comes down to for me. I've told you guys on here multiple times. My perspective on how I view weapons anymore based on last year has been completely altered. It's been completely tossed up and thrown into a blender. Because what the Bills were able to accomplish last year offensively, with a Keon Coleman injury, with a Dalton Kincaid injury, and with the departure of Gabe Davis, and the departure of course, Stephon Diggs, it's extraordinary. Not everybody predicted the Bills to fall off entirely, but most everybody predicted the Bills to take a step down. They took a step forward in a way that I don't think anybody could have saw coming. Dalton Kincaid, Rico, was injured last year. All of his numbers compared to his rookie year also declined compared to the rookie year. And of course, the Bills wound up having the year that they had. I said, this is the way I put it. This is in no way an indictment on Dalton Kincaid, nor is it an indictment on Keon Coleman, because this is the same exact perspective I have on him being left off the list. It's not an indictment on those two, but it's more of a testament to the greatness of Josh Allen and his ability to do what he does with just about anybody, so long as he has one reliable target and an offensive line to anchor him and give him the ability to make plays. Dalton Kincaid gets left off, unfortunately, because last year I saw these Buffalo Bills go nuclear on offense, and Dalton Kincaid was really not that massive of a part of it.
That's a great argument. That's a fair argument. Without him, we still handle business. So if he isn't there, business goes on as usual. So that's why I can see why you would do that. However, I can't just let you off the hook that way.
No, don't.
Where does TJ Sanders fit into this? How do you have, I understand that the defense is the meat of the potatoes and we're trying to bolster that, but how do you have the second round draft pick already in the middle of a cluster F of defensive tackles, and you have him on the list and not have Kincaid, which is supposed to be the future of this team with Josh? You have to explain yourself to that. Well, I get the Kincaid part. The TJ part has to be explained.
So that was probably one of the more out of left field choices that I had. And I understand why maybe you wouldn't. Move? No, definitely not a panic move.
All right.
And this is where it comes down to your perspective on that word future, right? So you had mentioned just a couple of minutes ago, how do you not have Keon Coleman on this list? You drafted him in the second round, and this is going to be the future of the offense, right?
Yep.
Bills traded up to get TJ Sanders in the second round, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they value him as a guy that they think was worth moving up, taking as high as they did. There was a multitude of other players on that list, and you do already have Ed Oliver, of course. They go up and get that guy who they probably viewed to be a talent that was closer to the first round than not. When I talk about the future of the Buffalo Bills and why my list was primarily defensive players, it's because if this defense does take another step forward, I just don't see how the Bills do not reach the Super Bowl. If the Bills defense does improve to the point where you can trust them, not as much as the offense, because you're not going to trust them as much as a Josh Allen-led offense, But if you can depend on this defense more often than not, then I just think they become the best team in the AFC. If TJ Sanders comes in, maybe not this year, but down the line here, and becomes an absolute home wrecker towards getting after the quarterback, then you're solving one of the primary issues the Bills have been trying to solve for some time now. They have been primarily trying to address it on the edge, but TJ Sanders comes in out of this draft as one of the defensive linemen that is most well known for getting after the quarterback. This has been the biggest need for the Buffalo Bills in terms of reaching the ultimate goal for the longest time now. And so this is more of taking a flyer, Rico, on TJ Sanders in terms of the future. Because if he becomes a stud, who would be more important out of this draft class, other than, of course, Maxwell Hairston, than a guy who comes in and finally gives you that answer at getting after the quarterback? I understand why you'd want to leave him off, but I'm taking a flyer. I'm putting a bet down that he is going to wind up being one of those guys the Bills defense depends upon to become the defense we all hope that they do, which inevitably gets the Bills to where we want them to go.
I love that response. And I respect it. I can see where your angle was, and you have to look at future. So then it got me wondering, okay, so like what's the time frame in terms of future? Future the next 3 years, what it looks like 3 years from now, future the next 5. Right. So was that in discussion? Was that part of how you made your decision? Or the next 2 years future, next 5 years future? Because I bring that up because I'm looking at number 3, the consensus. I don't know if you have that list back up.
Sure.
The consensus.
Mine or the consensus?
The consensus.
Consensus was Deion Dawkins.
Yes, the consensus was Deion Dawkins. Josh just turned 29. Deion Dawkins is 30, I believe. Or just turned 30. Year prior. Okay, so he's going into season 31. So
let's double check that. Just make sure.
I want to make sure. I don't want to put an age on him. And
so he was April 26, 1994. So that means he just turned 31, 30? Rico.
Just turned 31.
In April, a couple weeks ago.
Let's be sure of that. Anybody born in 99 in here?
No, 94. So that would be 31.
Okay.
Because he's 3 years older than me and I'm 28.
So let's put it this way. So
I see where you're getting at.
You see where I'm getting at. And this is no shade on our guy, Deion Dawkins. But if we're talking about future of the squad, is he on this team 4 years from now? Is he retiring at this point? Or have we made the decision to say, you know what? We've come. I mean, he just signed an extension. What's extension bring him to? Somebody has to fact check that for me. Right. So I think people just put Deion. Deion is because he's one of the best players on our team.
He becomes a free agent, by the way, Rico, in 2028.
2028. We're 2020. So
he's got 3 years under contract.
We got another 3 years. So I guess in the immediate future, he's part of our future. But if we're looking longer term than that, 5 years, because that's usually what it is. Most people ask you, hey, where do you see yourself in what? What do they normally say? 5 years. Right. You don't say, where do you see yourself in 2 years? No. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Because that's the future. So that being said, how was Deion Dawkins on that list? How did people look through that? So in my opinion, as you know, I'm a contrarian. I like to shake things up. Deion should not be on this list. So if I were to remove Deion off this list, that shakes things up. And that's where I went there. I removed Deion off my list.
Wow.
I
had him at number 2 overall on mine.
He's out of there. I removed him on my list. Not because I don't love you, Deion. I do. You're my guy. You're our guy. Everyone loves you in Buffalo, including myself. But I'm looking at long term. 5 years from now, is he on the squad? I can tell you right now, Josh is still going to be here. I can tell you right now. Can you put that list up back up? I want to actually see it like physically. If you still have it, if you don't, no big deal. I have it written down. I can see Josh on the team 5 years from now. All right. 5 years from now. Yes, Josh. Yes, Spencer Brown. Yes, potentially Ed Oliver. We can talk about that. Terrell Bernard. Yes. Greg Rousseau. Yes. Harrison. Yes. Benford. Yes. Sanders. Yes. Shakir. Yes. Deion. Question mark. He's off my list. If we're talking about the future of the team. And I'm using the 5-year mark just so everybody's clear. So that being said, my list changes up completely.
Wow.
With Dion off the list. But we're sticking to you. We're not on me yet. I just want to put food for thought on this.
Well, let me just say that I think that is an excellent point that you're making. And this is why the ambiguity of this list is why I think it's such a fun project, because your perspective on future is different than mine. And this is why it's so great. And I think you're making an excellent point, because 5 years from now would put Deion Dawkins at 36. And yeah, I think the point you're making is certainly a valid one. If not for anything else, it can certainly be argued. And I think you did a great job of doing that. And I didn't even think about that, because as of right now, to me, Deion Dawkins is the second most important player on this team, and certainly the second most important player on this offense. Here's how I view it, why I had him number 2, and I think why he was at number 3. If we're talking about 5 years from now, Rico, if the Bills have not won a Super Bowl within the next 5 years, I hate to break it to you, and I hate to break it to myself as much as I hate to break it to you. They're not going to win it. I don't see how the Bills are going to magically find a way to win it after the next 5 years. They've already fielded a team that is as good as the Bills have had since the 4 back-to-back year Super Bowl runs a quarter century ago. If the Bills are not going to win one, or at the very least, and you know my whole view on this, just get to one. How much I have been just craving the 2-week media tour going into the Super Bowl just to experience it in my life. Hell, if the Bills were on the other end of the Eagles beatdown that the Chiefs were on this past year, would it have sucked? You're damn right it would have. But would I have enjoyed every damn second of it up until that point? You're damn right I would have. And it would have been the biggest accomplishment that I've witnessed as a sports fan in my entire life by a magnitude of 1,000, right? It would have been everything we've been hoping for forever. So my counterpoint to you, even though I think it's a terrific point, is that I view the future differently. I view it, as I mentioned earlier, as the Bills going towards a Super Bowl, the top 10 most important players to getting to a Super Bowl and having the best chance to win it. So to your point, and based on how you view it, I think it's a great way to look at it and a different way to look at it. To my point, if the Bills are not going to be able to win it within the next 5 years, during a portion of a time here in which I think Deion Dawkins is deservingly a top 3-4 player on this list, then I don't see how the Bills are just going to magically recreate a team that's going to be better than what they've had the last several years, and now that's inevitably going to be able to do it. Now, will I eat my words? I hope I do if the Bills don't win it in the next 5 years. But I'll tell you right now, panic button times a million if the Bills cannot win it within the next 5 years, because I don't see how it gets any better. Josh Allen, 5 years from now, will be going into year 13, Rico? You're not primed to be winning your first Super Bowl of your career in year 13. The time is now, and that's how I see it.
And listen, and you and I are both on the same page, but this is a food for thought, provocative conversation. You got to have it. With that being said, if we're looking at the next 5, would you say, I mean, you never know. Medicine these days is great. People take care of their bodies even better. We have linemen now. I mean, look at Jason Peters, for crying out loud. Damn, pushing, I think he just retired, and I think he was 38.
He did.
Maybe 39. So you just never know with these players that can still play at a high level.
So to your point, though, I want to just say Jason Kelce retired at 36 years old, which would be Deion in 5 years.
And this is the point I'm trying to make, my beautiful people out here. Let's dive deep into this. I got my caffeine in me, so my brain is working here. It's moving. So with that being said, and it's on the spot, but do you still have Deion part of the future? Using the 5-year mark as future of this team. And if you still have him on the squad or part of the future, then null and void. We'll move on to the next player that you have off this list.
You're making me look at it in a whole different light. I just looked it up. Zach Martin just retired, of course, legendary Cowboy. I didn't realize he was only 34. I thought he was older.
Jason Peters, 43.
Now that's insane. I'm pretty sure Jason Peters has been playing my entire life. Jason Peters might be up there. I'm pretty sure Jason 43. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure Jason
last year.
I'm pretty sure he's been playing like my entire life. Yeah, he's 43 years old.
Oh yeah. My.
So, hey, put your hands together and pray that we get another 12 years of excellence out of Deion Dawkins. I mean, that would be nuts.
Incredible.
To answer your question, I would say he'd still be on my list.
Okay.
But I don't know if I'd have him at number 2 based on the way that you're looking at it at the 5-year mark.
Completely fair. I removed them just to kind of give the young bucks that are going to be part of the future a shot. And I'm so interested in I'm so excited to share my list. But anyway, last one. Are you petting the little cat? Kitty cat?
No, I'm turning the fan on.
There you go.
Getting heated over here.
It's getting hot in here. All right. Keon Coleman, you have him off the list.
Yes.
Second round draft pick. Rumor has it that Josh is the one who said, go get him. I want him. And you have Josh's bestie off the list. Care to explain?
Yeah, it's the same point essentially for Dalton Kincaid. Keon Coleman wasn't the same after the injury, missed several games last year. Here's the other thing too. We're going into year once again, we watched the Bills, do what they do last year without these guys, right? My whole view on these guys is it's almost a luxury, as crazy as it sounds. This is why if you were to come at me and say, well, Bot, you're always talking about how we need more wide receivers. Yeah, I would love it. But I think it's a luxury. Do I still think even without additions, the Bills are going to be a top 10, top 5 offense? 100%. I'm talking about going to another level here. I'm talking about the added goods, the luxury here. That's kind of what I get at. But at its core, with Josh Allen, the Bills are going to be one of the best offenses in the league. There's just no way. No way I see it on any other way around it. It's just that to me, I think it's gravy on top if Dalton Kincaid hits his ceiling and then Keon Coleman hits his ceiling. Because if that's the case, then we're talking about a team. You're looking at a team last year, Rico, that probably had the best offensive year in its franchise history. What's that look like if those two guys do end up getting to their pinnacle? It would be insane. But at the end of the day, the Bills still did score 31 points per game. And to me, the defense is more of a priority right now because 31 points per game, Rico, should win you damn near every single game you play every single week in this league. 31 points. That should be enough to get it done. The Bills scored 29 points on the road in Arrowhead against a team that had not scored more than 30 the entire season, and they lost the football game, right? So something's got to give. And I think the Bills would be better and would be even more prolific if those guys do end up hitting a crazy ceiling. But as it stands right now, the Bills' offense is good enough to win a Super Bowl. I don't even think that's a debate. Now, leaving him off, same reason for Dalton Kincaid. And that is, I view the defense right now to be primarily more important in terms of the bulk share towards getting to a Super Bowl. And with the guys remaining the 4 slots, I had to stick with the absolute core of the offense. I will say, though, what I added when I was doing this, and I was making my point on Kincaid, if I do see this next year, like this next coming year, Rico, if I do see Kincaid finally be utilized, not only by Allen, but by Brady, if I see the emphasis to make him an integral part of this offense, and I see him take that next step towards being the guy I think we all thought he would be, and it's no slight at him. He's been fine. His rookie year was really solid.
Absolutely.
I'm talking about getting to the point where he becomes Josh Allen's George Kittle or Travis Kelce. And I'm not saying it's going to happen this year, but if this upcoming year, Rico, we see a sizable increase in production from Dalton Kincaid in a year that I think is massive in terms of how we're going to be viewing him moving forward. Year 3 is huge for Dalton Kincaid here and how we view him moving forward. Say the same thing for Keon Coleman. If I see, Rico, this offense really be relying on these two guys and them make a massive difference in the outcome of the games, I had said unequivocally, this time next year, you will see those guys on my list when we do it again in 2026. I need to see it because as of right now, what I've seen is that the Bills are capable of hitting 31 points per game, Josh Allen winning an MVP, putting up 29 points in the AFC Championship without the production of those guys.
This is fascinating. I love this conversation we're having. By the way, before we even continue, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are in here having a good time with us, smash that like. If you were captured by this conversation and where this can go. Listen, my man Bot turned the fan on. He's sipping on water. He's absolutely feeling the pressure. The pressure is getting to my man having to explain himself, but he's done an excellent job in explaining himself. I feel like I've grilled you harder than you were grilled by the folks that were on the show that you were on today. So I'm glad that I'm getting the juices flowing. So you leaving Kincaid, Cook, and Keon.
Let's talk about Cook real quick because I want to make a point.
That was my next guy.
Good.
talk about it.
There was a question posed to the entire group after the project was finished, because there was a lot of, this is a very interesting topic, James Cook, because I can't sit here and tell you the Bills offense would have been what it was last year if James Cook didn't have the production that he did. But once again, that's why I have the offensive line ranked so high, because I just think that was a massive part of it. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend like James Cook lucked himself into 20 touchdowns and 1,000 yards. I mean, he was terrific last year. This was the question posed. If James Cook, prior to making this list, had signed a 4-year deal at $13 million a year on average, would you have had him on your list? And my answer was yes. The primary reason as to why James Cook was not on my list was because how can I pen him in to the top 10 most important players, Rico, when I don't know if he's going to be one of the more important players a year from now?
Agreed. 100%. So that was in agreement with you. 100% agree with you. How do you? It's no different than looking at Kincaid. Off of Kincaid, I can understand why you had Kincaid this low. Let's just say Kincaid, even when he did get hurt, but in the playoffs, he was an integral part in the playoffs, and he was lighting guys up. Even with his production in the regular season, y'all would have had him a lot higher on the list. It's just what you're going by off of what you know of the player, what he did last year, and what you've seen thus far. And it's a fair list. It's an actually fair list. So I'm interested in that. And the Cook question is a fantastic question, because had he been signed long term, I would have had him on my list as well. Now the question is, would he have been top 5 or bottom 5?
I probably would have removed TJ Sanders. He's the guy I took a flyer on, as we just talked about. Probably would have removed him, added James Cook. Still would have had him below top 5, but he would certainly be in the top 10. Just because of the running back position and having Josh Allen, I think that it ultimately goes through him. And I don't think I could fit Cook into the top 5, because I still do think the offense would be one of the best in the league if Cook were to leave. But if he were to be under contract for the next 4 years, there's no way you can't view him as a player that would be one of the more, mainstays of this team throughout the next couple of years here, of course, which would be, of course, the future of the team. But that really is the bulk of it. How could you pen him into a list predicated on the future of the team when you don't know what the future of that particular player is going to be?
I like everything you said about that. And this is why I'm ready to put my list down.
Oh, I'm ready to hear it. Because already based on what you've said about Deion, this is going to be interesting, I think.
It is going to be interesting. Now, before I do that, I wanted to have fun with this. You know me. ChatGPT is always fascinating.
Talk to me.
So I didn't use ChatGPT this time. I used Copilot. ChatGPT is just...
That's the Microsoft one, right? Copilot?
That's the Microsoft one. I feel like Microsoft's a little more on it. Maybe you can actually put one in for Grok.
I'm a Grok guy because I'm already on Twitter a lot, and Grok's right there.
Yeah, I see. I mean, funny enough, I'm on this laptop all the time. I see it all the time, and with work and all that stuff, it's Copilot. Anyway, so I asked Copilot before I get into my own list. I wanted to see what Copilot put. Sweat.
Ooh, interesting.
I said, in your opinion, name your top 10 most important players to the Buffalo Bills' future. I put the next 3 years. Should I put 3 years? Should I put 5?
Do it based on how you see it.
And then I'm going to say 5. I'm going to say the next 5 years. Name them from 1 to 10. All right. Is that fair? Is that the right way to put it?
Yeah. Say number 1 being most, 10
exactly
being,
what I'm going to do. 1 to 10. And I'm going to say 10 being least important, I guess you could say. Or I'll say 10 being lowest.
I would just say 1 being most, because it might view 10 being lowest as like, I don't know how
10 being what? 10 being
just
what?
say with number 1 being the most important.
Okay.
Just say that.
Yeah. All right. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
And I'm just hoping that they just get it right. I'm going to say use the current roster. I don't know if that's the best way I can put it. Updated roster.
Including draft picks.
Yeah, perfect. Draft picks and free agents.
What does Copilot got to say?
Here we go. Copilot has this like so. Do you want me to go from 1 to 10 or 10 to 1? This is fascinating.
Do whatever you feel
so
best.
Fascinating. And I did my list prior to this. All right. Number 10, Terrell Bernard.
Well, that's a little
Number
low
9, Dion Dawkins. Number 8, Christian Benford. Number 7, Ed Oliver. See, this is where they screwed up. Number 6, Matt Milano. Number 5, Joey Bosa. Number 4, Keon Coleman. Fascinating. Number 3, James Cook. Number 2, Dalton Kincaid. Number 1, Josh Allen.
I feel like that just spit out who they think the best players on the team currently are.
And this is why I take these for a grain of salt. Interesting list nonetheless. Now let's get into mine. All right.
Please.
So I love the consensus list that you boys put together. I think it's a fair one. I decided to look a little bit outside the box and look the next 5 years, and I don't see Deion being part of the team. He's going to be he's on the back end of his career. You and I all talked about it. He was kind of freaking out like, dude, I'm getting to that point in my career. This was 2 years ago.
I know.
And I'm going on the back end of my career. This is weird. This is odd. I'm in new territory. This is the reality. This is why he is who he is. He's going to be a lot big. He's going to be part of media. No question about it. Deion has set himself up to be part of the media. He's done an excellent job doing it. And Bills Mafia has helped him. He should be thank you, Bills Mafia, because they just made this guy another career. Anyway, that being said, number 10 on my list, Dorian Williams. I have Dorian Williams as my number 10 because Matt Milano will be gone next year. It will be it's going to be the Bernard and Dorian show. They didn't draft anybody the year prior that gets me that has me saying, oh, hold on, Eddie Ulufoshio, Joe Andreessen. No, they didn't address the linebacker room because they didn't need to. They have the linebackers of the future. And Dorian Williams, I believe, will be a damn good player in this league. Mark my words. He's going to be freaking nice. We're going to like him. That's number 10.
I like that.
Number 9, Keon Coleman. I'm not leaving that brother off that list. I think he's going to be a solid contributor for this team. I don't have him any higher. I think he's properly placed at number 9. Keon Coleman, he's just getting his feet wet. Josh Allen, just coming fresh off an MVP. He's learning not to throw the football into the other opposition's hands or giving the football up. I think there's going to be a next level between those two. And Brandon Beane calling him out to say, I need more from him, you got a little extra pressure. So year 2 is going to be massive. We're going to see how that goes down. Are y'all with me? Let's keep it rolling. Number 10, Dorian Williams. Number 9, Keon Coleman. Number 8, Maxwell Harrison, the rookie corner coming in, dynamic speed, right? Any corner that comes to this team has success. It's been seen. We've seen it. Actually, take a look at the depth. We got 2 returning players that have done well with the Bills, got themselves a deal somewhere else. It didn't quite work out. They're back with the Bills. Harrison will be part of the squad for a little bit. I'm liking what I see. Number 8, Harrison. Number 7, Ed Oliver. I think Ed Oliver is going to be part of this team for a little bit. I think this contract has got him at least with the team for the next 4 or 5 years. All right. And I think that TJ Sanders joining, I think opens up a huge lane for Ed Oliver to do what he needs to do. Let's not skip over TJ Sanders as being a pass rusher only. He is a run defender as well, just as good. Ed Oliver is going to be truly in his 3-tech position. Let him run wild and do what he needs to do. Number 7, Ed Oliver. Number 6, Dalton Kincaid. I still believe he's truly part of this damn team. He had an off year. Year 3, he's got to step up. He's got to. Josh is going to be leaning on him, and so is Brandon Beane. 2 guys that have a lot of pressure on them on the offensive side of the ball. That is Kincaid, and that is Keon Coleman. 2 are big-time offensive pieces. You want Josh Allen to have success? Those 2 guys got to do what they need to do. Number 5, Khalil Shakir. The reliable blanket, the guy that they just signed him to a big-time deal. I think he hasn't even tapped in to the biggest potential that he has. I think he's got way more in his tank. I think he could be as good as Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he could be as effective as Amon-Ra St. Brown. We just got to find a way to get him more involved and get him to become that alpha. I truly believe he can be better. If he's where he is right now, where he's just a role player, so be it. But I think he's got more in the tank. I have him at number 5. Are you ready to go for top 5?
Yes.
Top 5. Here we go. Spencer Brown, right anchor. He's going to be around for a while. Drafted him in the 3rd round. We had to be patient with him. He had those back issues. We weren't sure about Spencer Brown. Spencer Brown now, one of the best right tackles in the game. And these linemen are playing a lot longer, than they used to back in the day. So Give me Spencer Brown the next 5 years. He's definitely going to be on the squad, anchoring for my man, Josh Allen. Number 3, Gregory freaking Rousseau. Greg Rousseau is an anchor, bro. I like him. Young. We got him young. He's going to be part of the squad for a while. He is absolutely 1,000% part of this future. You best believe it. That's number 3. Number 2, Christian Benford. Benny. Staple on this team. Just signed him. We know what we have in Benford. He's about his business. As long as that brother stays healthy and he doesn't have these little knick-knack injuries, bro, he should be good to go. Number 2 on the list. Number 1, obviously, the main guy, Josh Allen, right? So, number 1, Josh, Benford, Rousseau, Spencer Brown, Kaiir, Kincaid, Oliver, Hairston, Keon, Dorian Williams. Now, honorable mention. I thought about it. I was like, back and forth. Landon Jackson.
Yeah.
Landon Jackson was my honorable mention, but I was like, you know what? Dorian Williams.
I want him to be. I'll say that.
Dorian Williams has at least he's shown us what he's capable of doing, and he can get better. So if I said it right, Dorian. So I got 1, 2, 10. That's my top 10. Is there anything on that top 10 that sways you a little bit? We're like, I don't know about that one. Or were you like, I understand it? What are your thoughts? I'm not sure.
Why Benford? Why Benford at 2?
I think he's a cornerstone with that on that defense. I think he's still young enough in this game. He's going to be here. I could see him getting a third contract, if you will, with how he's doing. So could he be there? Could there be an extension in the mist? Who knows? Because we know what we have in Benford. We don't yet know what we have in Hairston right off the rip. So that's why I have him high as number 2. I think he's an important piece of this team, and he's going to be an important piece of this defense for the future. So Hairston's on there. I got him at number 8, and I got Benford at number 2.
There was no Terrell Bernard, was there?
No, there was no Bernard on there.
Talk me through that one.
With Bernard, this is where I had Bernard. So Ed Oliver at number 7, I went back and forth, and I was like, Oliver or Bernard? Oliver or Bernard? That's where I was like, okay. Here's the reason. Essentially, I went with Oliver. I feel like this team loves the trench. So if they were going to choose a player in the trench or a player in the backfield, who would they choose more so? They would choose the trench over the linebacker. I know they love Bernard. I think Bernard should be on this list, but I had to go back and forth. If I had to remove someone, Dorian Williams and I put Bernard. But the one's younger than the other, not by much. It's a toss-up. But it was the Ed Oliver is the one that I had to struggle. And I can see why when you guys went consensus, you had up at number 10. You might as well just boot him off the list if that's the case, because you could have put anybody else on the list. And that's where I struggled. So the 10 list is, to me, interesting, but that's where I struggled. Bernard is one that I was like, trenches or linebacker, where I have Dorian at 10, because I think he's going to be a good player in this league. That's where I'm at. And I can see anybody going, that's where his list messes up. And that's okay. That's all right, too. That's all right.
But you're more seeing Dorian as a long play, almost. Like
I think he will be a long play. Because this is a physical game, man. And Dorian is a physical player. So in the long haul, we've seen Bernard have some knick-knack injuries here and there. And we've had guys have to step up. So, and I took that into account as well. Interesting nonetheless, though.
Who do you think was the toughest player to leave off, in your opinion?
Bernard. No question.
Okay.
It was Bernard. Because I like Bernard. I like Bernard a lot. I like those two together. But if I had Dorian on the list, I had to say, okay, well, Dorian I think is a long-term play here. And I see how they love the trench. And that's what it went to. It went down to the trenches. So I had to keep Oliver on there. I couldn't put TJ Sanders. I couldn't do it. And if I was going to put any rookies, it's going to be obviously Hairston on that list.
Where was Kincaid on that list again? 7?
Kincaid 6.
So let's say Kincaid let's go into next year.
Sure.
And let's say that Kincaid has the exact same stat line that he has his rookie year, right? 70 some catches, just shy of 700 yards, 2 touchdowns. where would he be on your list? And say the Bills offense has a similar season as to last year. Maybe not as good, but where would you have him next year if you were to have see another year where it's just similar to his rookie year, nothing beyond that?
He could. It's funny because he can go up as high as 2.
Wow.
He can go as high as 2 because that could put him, if he has the promising year and he gives us what he gave his rookie year. And I'd like to get him in the end zone more. I didn't see him in the end zone enough. 2 touchdowns his rookie year, 2 touchdowns last year. I didn't see him enough as a big time touchdown threat guy. But 2 is kind of high. But if we're talking about next year, if I were to move him up, I'd probably swap him with Spencer Brown. I put Spencer between him, Shakir, and Spencer at 6, and I'd put Kincaid at 4 if I were to swap and keep Shakir at 5.
If he were to have a massive year.
If he had a massive year, for sure. He's definitely in the top 5.
How many total offense and defensive players was that on yours?
That's good. Okay, so I got Josh, I got Shakir, Kincaid, Keon. 4, just like you.
All right, so you're like me. So you are in agreement then, even though, and I like the list. I think it's a very fair list. I like the addition of Dorian Williams because I think it's a different way of thinking.
Yeah.
Especially on a guy similar to my TJ Sanders, where you're really thinking there's going to be upside there that's going to really contribute to the future of the team here. I think it goes without saying, though. I think we have a similar view on this, even though we have a different list, in that this defense, this is what it boils down to. And this is why this past draft was so massive. And I understand a lot of people aren't, and I don't want to say a lot of people. It did feel like a lot of people loved the Bills draft. But for those who didn't, the reason why I did is because if all fails, you can't say Brandon Beane didn't attempt to try and take this defense to a level in which we are referring to here. And that is getting them to a point where they are contributing towards the future of this team in a fashion that is more of a attribute to Josh Allen than what feels like at times perhaps a hindrance or a disadvantage in the biggest moments. I don't think it's any shock here that even though we had different players, both of our lists had a bulk share of defensive players, even though the 100%. Bills are more known, far more known for their offense.
You asked me earlier also, who did I have a hard time? James Cook. I had a hard time with James Cook. And the reason
boils down to the contract, though, for you as well, right? I mean, that's what it all comes down to.
Yeah, it does fall down on the contract, but it also falls down on Brandon Beane he's not one guy to I don't want to say respect the running back, but he's okay with getting a new RB because we got Josh Allen. We don't really need to invest too much. And by getting a cheap running back, I can invest in other spots on the team and still get good production out of my running back class. That being said, you asked a great question. What if they did pay him? And then he'd have to be on this list. But he's not on the list. And here comes Pierre thinking I'm hating on James Cook.
It's the opposite of what he's thinking.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, Rico had a hard time.
How about this?
Listen, I like James Cook, and I think he should have been on this list. It's just that Brandon Beane doesn't give me the impression. Listen, Devin Singletary, Utah RB. I keep always forgetting his name. Went to the Colts and the Bengals. Zach Moss, right? Zach Moss, Singletary. He did it to my man Shady. He moves on from guys. He moves on from the running back position. So why change it? Why change the name and change the game with James Cook? The only reason that I would say I can see James Cook coming back because Brandon Beane gave his word that I want to see this guy back on the team. So Brandon Beane seems to be a man of his word. When he says something, he does it. But he's probably saying it knowing that I want him back on the team at $12.5 million, right? So it's going to be up to him if he says yes to $12.5 million. So we might be in the same spot next year. We'll see.
Let's look at it from the other angle. Let's say Beane traded Cook pre-draft. Would you have had Ray Davis on your top 10 list?
No.
Okay.
Although I love Ray Davis. Big fan of Ray. No, because the same thing I just said. He lets these running backs play. And don't forget, Ray Davis is an older running back coming in as an older RB. I think
so you're not going to have a running back on that list regardless, essentially.
And that's crazy because I'm a running back guy. But I know how Beane
we know
moves.
Breece Hall would be on that list. We know Breece Hall would be on that list if he was on the roster. That's for sure.
I'm just saying, man. Beane is one of those cats where, listen, I know what I want. I invest in the trench. I invest in my DBs. I invest in my defensive backfield, but RB is not one. I like you guys for the first 4 years as a rookie, and I'm moving on to the next. James Cook is presenting a problem because I don't think he even said it. He did not think James Cook would have played the way he's playing right now. He did not expect it because he was a guy in college that shared carries. So he's going to share carries in the NFL, but this guy's exceeded my expectations. And he's playing a lot better than I anticipated. Now he wants to get paid? Oh, I did not expect this. So let me figure this out for next year. And then by next year, who knows what kind of year James Cook's going to have. Maybe he has an 800-yard season, 4 touchdowns, and you're like, I was right not signing you. Or he goes absolutely bonkers and goes,
no, that's when you do sign him, in my opinion.
I know.
Because I think I'm saying if he has a 1,000-yard year again, which would be 3 consecutive, but he reverts back to the 2 years prior of only 2 touchdowns, I think that is when you do sign him.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
Because
but then now James Cook, but here's the thing. Yes, essentially, yes, that's when you sign him and say, gotcha. But it's going to be at 12.5 because that's exactly what I anticipate that you do. James Cook was like, no. I want the same money I won last year. Well, then no. Because you disrespected me.
And this is where it gets interesting, because if he were to have another, say, like, he's not going to have 20 total touchdowns again. If he does, then Brandon Beane is going to have to live with it. Well, either he pays him or he doesn't, but he's getting paid. True. If James Cook has 20 touchdowns again, somebody's paying him, whether it's Beane or not. So it's irrelevant. At that point, if he has another year like last year, he's getting paid, whether it's in Buffalo or it's in 31 other cities. It doesn't matter. But if he goes back to having another 1,000-yard year, which, we now have 2 years in a row of, but he goes, the 2 years prior, he had 4 total touchdowns on the ground, 16 last year. If he has 5 total touchdowns, but another 1,000-yard year, I think that is when you do re-sign him. And I think it's more likely than not. Wouldn't you say? What do you think is more likely? James Cook to have sub 10 total touchdowns or 20 total touchdowns again, like last year, which led the league?
I can't see that happening where he's at that 14, 15, 16. It's an anomaly. Not many people could do that on a consistent basis. That's number one. So does he give you double digit? I think if he gets into your double digits rushing touchdowns with 1,000 yards,
agreed,
Beane's going to have no choice but to pay out. You got to pay out. He gave it to you again. And then you might have to add some incentives here and there, but you have to pay him. Now, Beane is also going to be like, yeah, I think I'm good. So Ray Davis is going to have a huge year. This is a big year for Ray Davis. Ray Davis is going to have to sneak in and grab some touches from James Cook. And if he does, it leans more towards James Cook saying, my last year in Buffalo, I'm out of here. But we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. That was a great question, by the way, because it is fascinating with the running back room. But Beane, you got to look at the history. History means a lot. Beane doesn't pay the running backs. Hasn't. James Cook would be this first one in his tenure as a Buffalo Bill GM that he'd pay someone. That'd be his first. That would be a first. And he's going to do his darndest not to. Pierre comes in and says, hey, with Henry setting the new Bills market at $25 million per year, is $15 a year for a running back fair value?
I wanted to bring this up. I'm glad he's bringing this up because I'm wondering, the running back market is sort of changing significantly right in front of our eyes. And it started with Christian McCaffrey a couple of years ago. And then, of course, Saquon Barkley getting the amount of money that he got this offseason, but of course, rightfully so. Now, Pierre, it's not $25 million per year. It's $25 million guaranteed, $30 million in new money. So I think his contract comes out to, in terms of guaranteed salary per year, he's only due this year. Here's his cap hit, okay, for the next 4 years. It's not anywhere near $25 million. In fact, this is where I thought it was a benefit for the Bills. Because when James Cook said, congrats to Saquon or to Derrick Henry. Now, granted, Derrick Henry's 30 years old. But this money that Derrick Henry got, I thought this was value for the Ravens. Over the next 4 years, this is the cap hit in order starting this year. $8.5 million, $5.5 million, $16.2 million, $10.5 million. Derrick Henry doesn't come close to $20 million per year at any point other than 2027, where he's at 16. And I think that comes down to it's $40 million over the next 4 years. So you divide 40 by 4. And in terms of his cap number, he's looking at about $10 million a year over the next 4 years. That's if he even plays for the next 4 years. That would put him in the mid 30s.
Correct.
I mean, we know Derrick Henry's a specimen all his own, but it's not. I thought the contract, the re-signing here, the extension was awfully favorable for Baltimore because they're in a similar situation to Buffalo, where if they don't win in this Derrick Henry window, then when we're talking about that 5-year window that you were talking about, well, then if Baltimore can't get it done in the prime of Lamar Jackson's career with Derrick Henry, if the Bills can't get it done in the prime of Josh Allen's career with the offense that they currently have, then you're looking at a situation that nobody wants to be in, and that is, have we moved past the best of what this is going to be, and have we absolutely blown the chance that we had?
Listen, that is fair. So this is where hold on, and this is where it comes back to the James Cook situation, and this is fascinating because like James Cook is sitting here just waiting. So I guess my question to you now is, knowing what we know and knowing who's getting paid, and I'm looking for something on Twitter because it's fascinating because we're talking about the running back market, and you mentioned how it's absolutely changed. Where does it fluctuate? Brett Coleman had something. I'm trying to look for it now. He had something fascinating today that he posted, and if I can find it, that'd be great. Of course, I can't find it right now, but it was.
By the way,
Pierre,
Pierre, just want to say I have no fault in you getting these contracts make no sense to me half the time. Every time you see these numbers, they're never the actual numbers. You never know what the hell is going on. So I totally would anybody have been shocked if Derrick Henry got $25 million per year after Saquon? I don't think anybody probably would have been shocked, to be honest.
Listen, it's fascinating, man. It's just you just never know. And here's another thing: him getting paid that money. Some folks were like, "Wow, that's hefty for a 30-year-old running back." He's the first 30-year-old running back that got paid like that. So it's an anomaly. So like when you do you look at that and say that's the standard, or is that just an anomaly? So those are one of the things where you're like, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to look at that.
Well, the best example is Christian McCaffrey. How quickly things change, where he goes from being a $19 million a year running back to now you're looking at him as probably a liability. And that was the best player in the league 2 years ago. Right. So it's like, this is what we talk about when it comes to the running back room.
Yep.
Christian McCaffrey was a guaranteed touchdown every single week he touched the field, no matter what. Now you're looking at him off of his second major injury, at least second, I believe. And you're looking at, you think the Niners wish that they had him as at the second highest paid running back in the in the league situation right now? I would probably guess not.
Man, he got paid, didn't he? Golly. Unbelievable how much he got paid.
Yeah, so McCaffrey, he's
what is he? What is that? Right now is that what? Not 19, is he?
So he's owed. I believe it's 19 per.
Golly. I can see why people are kind of like, yo, I'm trying to get paid too. Like, let me get on that.
And I totally get that. I mean, I completely get that. You know what I mean? Christian McCaffrey is at 19 per right now. Saquon just topped him off. He just beat him out.
Hey, yo. Where'd that come from? I'm glad you caught yourself there. I was like, where'd that come from?
God.
What the hell's on your mind? Are you stressed out?
No, I am now. Saquon beats him at 20.6, right? But this is the interesting thing. So back to Pierre's point, with the new money added for Derrick Henry, his next few years with that contract will equate to 15 per. So there's a pretty sizable drop off from Saquon and then CMC, who right now is not worth $19 million per year. So you're looking at it. If we remove CMC from the equation, because as it is right now, if the Niners were to go back to the table and do this contract now as opposed to when they did, they would not be paying Christian McCaffrey $19 million per year. So if we remove him, it goes from Saquon at 20.6 down to Derrick Henry. Right there, those are two first ballot Hall of Famers. Derrick Henry guaranteed. Saquon, I think he's certainly getting there, if not already there. I think maybe one more great year with Philadelphia, you can lock him in. Derrick Henry, no doubt. But it goes from 20 to 15, Rico, Then you have Jonathan Taylor, which we've said a million times on here. He is the Colts offense. They don't have a quarterback that they rely on, that they trust. They have to have him on their team. They can't afford for somebody else to pay him. They have to pay him. He's the offense. And then it goes to Alvin Kamara, who's on the real back end of his career at 12.5. It's not like the quarterback market, Rico, where it feels like every year, we just saw it with Purdy. Every year you either get right at the number, slightly above the number, or slightly below the number. The running backs got some discrepancy there for sure.
Well, listen, this is one of those things where, hold on, you got Pierre coming in. It says, fellas, on the James Cook front, if you watch Cook, who does he remind you of as a runner? In my opinion, don't even try me. But I can see where he's going with this. Pierre likes to piss me off sometimes. In my opinion, he runs exactly like CJ2K. Man, what if? Believe it or not.
Yeah, what if Bruce Smith came out of retirement back in his prime too? I mean, right? We're talking about, that would be James Cook becoming one of the all-time greats. And also, how could James Cook even possibly get to 2,000 yards? That would mean Josh Allen, they'd have to hand him the ball 320 times a year.
We're not in that era. That era is long gone. I mean, I can't say it's long gone because we just had a 2,000-yard runner. But it's weird because you can't say you're not in the era because, well, he didn't have a mobile quarterback. Hold on, Jalen Hurts is mobile, but you got Saquon Barkley still pushed for 2,000. So like, it's like,
no, you're in the era. The Bills, man. The Bills are not in that era. Is the best way to put it. They're in the most prolific quarterback of all time era, not the ground and pound it for 2,000 yards a year with their running back era.
I suppose you can put it that way. By the way, Jessica had a comment. She says, she's saying, how come you never mention Knox money?
Dawson
so I guess
Knox?
she's trying to say is why Knox is getting paid a good chunk of money. Mm-hmm. Why aren't we talking about? And I'd like her to elaborate a little bit more on Knox, meaning you feel like he should not be paid the money he's being paid. He's being paid way too much. I'd have to look to see how much he's paying. What is he getting paid? Like 14 mil?
Well, in terms of answering your question, why do we not talk about him? We talked about him off air, and I had mentioned that, like, up until this point, Dawson Knox, I don't know, it just feels like they've had him as a reliable asset for this team for a while. And it's going to get to a point. This is why I think year 3 for Kincaid is so big. They're going to have to assess whether or not they're going to be in a similar situation to where they're at with Cook right now. Are they going to want to pay Dalton Kincaid top of the tight end market money? This is why year 3 is so massive to me. I think that with Dawson Knox, yes, of course, he's not putting up crazy numbers, but the contract that Kincaid will command when they get to there and they want to keep him around, I'm not saying not. I mean, Knox is going into what, year 7-ish? But yeah. I think up until this point, Dawson Knox wasn't a first-round draft pick. So I think he's been what they've wanted him to be.
So here comes Pierre. He says, get rid of that Knox contract. He's not worth anything close to what we pay him. So here's my question. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, and I'll put myself on the spot too. If push comes to shove and Knox is called into the office to say, we got to let you go. It's just the money. It's just not worth it. We can't keep you. Is that a wise idea? Knowing what Kincaid's year looked like last year in camp. I mean, we see people talk about how light he is or how light he looks. According to this picture, he looks nice. According to that picture, he looks slim. He had some tape around his, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Knox has been reliable, but he is getting paid a little overpaid. That's on management. They paid him a little too soon, and then all of a sudden they went and grabbed Kincaid because he was available.
It was the timing of it that was interesting.
It was the timing. Sure. The timing was off because he was the future of the squad, and then they said, "Whoa, wait a minute, Kincaid's there. We got to grab him." What do you do with Kincaid making the money he's making right now? If Beane calls him into the office, are you in an uproar if he's let go, and we're now left with Zachary Davidson, new tight end Jackson Hawes, and Kincaid?
Well, so right now,
the terrible idea. Do not move off from Kincaid.
Well, this is why year 3 is so huge. I mean, there's not, obviously you're not even considering it right now, but when you're looking at the fact that Trey McBride and George Kittle just both got contract extensions to the tune of $19 million per year, right? Dawson Knox is making less than $10 million per year. So that when they got him, now granted, is he Trey McBride or George Kittle? No, but the contract is half of that. When you are going to go sign Dalton Kincaid, you're going to be far closer to the $20 million of the world by that time than you are the $10 million of the world. That's probably why Jackson Hawes was drafted, because not for a Kincaid replacement, but if they want to get out of Dawson Knox's situation, he becomes a free agent in 2027. They need a blocking tight end, right? And I don't think that's Kincaid's specialty, but that certainly is Jackson Hawes' specialty. That's probably what the play was there. But I have a feeling, and once again, this will all be eliminated. The idea surrounding Kincaid's future contract-wise, he will answer this question for us this year. If he goes nuclear, who's going to have a complaint about paying him? But if he has, once again, like I asked you a couple minutes ago, if he has a year that's similar to the rookie year, and then he's in the similar situation to Cook where, hey, it's my time and top of the market money is what it is. Once again, you're back in the saddle, Brandon Beane, of having to figure out where you want to go with one of your top draft picks on offense in terms of market value and how you view it. That's why this year is huge.
So I'm looking at Dawson Knox's contract right now. So he's got the 2 void years in 27 and 28. Essentially, this is pretty much his last year. Right.
They can get out after this year. Yep.
Yep. So
it's not that crazy of a dead cap hit, right? I mean, it's not
$7.4 million dead cap. If they were to move on from Dawson Knox, he's got a $17 million cap hit right now. So there is a potential out.
And that was really backloaded, huh? That contract.
It was absolutely backloaded. And I think you knew that, right? They voided the last 2 years here. So essentially this is last year. Do you just bite the bullet and just hold on to him? Or do you just say, you know what, it is what it is. It's a numbers thing. We want to keep, because I mean, think about it. It's all a numbers game. If I've got to keep an extra DB, do I need 3 tight ends? But we've always run with 3 tight ends. Why would I do that to myself? I don't think they do anything with him. I know it's just conversation right now. But I think they hold on to Knox. This will be his last year, and then he'll gracefully bow out as a free agent. Unless crazy things happen and we hold on to him for $9 million the year after that, but I highly doubt it because Jackson Hawes is not a bad little player. He's not a bad little player at all. So that should be interesting nonetheless. So go ahead. What were we going to say?
I just wanted to, real quick, back on the Cook conversation and then to circle back on this top 10 list and close it out.
Yep.
What teams do you think right now would have their running back in their top 10 most important players to the future in the NFL?
There's a handful of teams. Obviously, Saquon Barkley.
How many do you like if you were just off the top of your head, how many do you think? Do you think more than 5?
Yes, more than 5.
Okay.
I say more than 5. What do you think?
I don't know. I think that you have to look at it so differently when you have a quarterback like Allen. Like, I think the Chiefs, if they were to have a better running back situation, would view this James Cook situation the exact same way we do. I think the Bengals would view it that way. I think obviously the Bills and the way we view it, the Ravens are different because of the way that they play offense. And I think that's why, of course, you see the extension for Derrick Henry. That makes a whole lot of sense. That is exactly what they want to do. And they've done pretty much for forever with that franchise. But I don't know. I'm looking at it here. And yeah, you're probably right. It is probably more than 5. But I think how many of the top tier teams in the league, Rico, would have their running back in the top 10? That might be the better question.
I think a lot of teams do. I think the running back is obviously climbing back into importance. I think people value that position group a lot more than they would like to admit. So I think there's a lot more. I think there's probably, I could probably tell you 10 teams that probably value. That might be high, but 10 teams that I think that would actually value having someone like that on their squad.
John, so you got the Colts. The Colts would be a yes.
Yep.
The Eagles would be a yes.
Yep.
The Packers would be a yes.
100%.
The Lions would be a yes. The Raiders would be a yes.
Oh yeah, Raiders should be less.
And
would you say? I think Seattle will be a yes. Atlanta would be a yes.
Atlanta would be a yes.
Detroit would be a yes.
Detroit, I already said Detroit. That was one of my 5. So we have 6 with including Atlanta.
I'm trying to think
Tampa Bay with Bucky Irving would probably be a yes.
Then you might as well put the Patriots in there with Henderson.
Okay.
Henderson would be a yes. That's 7. I'm sure we can get to more.
8. That's 8.
8. I can guarantee we can get to more.
Maybe Carolina.
With Chuba Hubbard? Yep. Put Carolina in there. And Carolina, I could probably name 2 more teams over Carolina. Put
maybe
Denver.
Minnesota.
Oh, hold on. Who's Denver got over there? They just brought somebody over. I can't think of the person. I feel like there's more. You guys help us out.
Oh, and then
Dawkins, right?
The Chargers, of course. They just drafted
Yep. Chargers would definitely be one.
Amari and Hampton. Yeah. All right. So we're at about 10. All right. It's more than
I can tell you 10, at least 10 teams. Ravens.
Yeah. No, I wanted to talk it out because I wanted to kind of, it is interesting. Now, of all those teams we just listed, though, Rico, how many of them have the guy at quarterback, and not the majority of them don't?
Yeah, it's a bit. Yeah, for sure. Like maybe half of them don't. I gather you value them as high. Yeah, you're right. And that's the thing. That's the thing with these running backs and that tier, because we have an elite quarterback and a very good running back, but like we can get away with a good running back. We don't need a very good one because we're not poor at the quarterback position. I mean, you go to freaking, I don't know. I don't know. Trevor Lawrence doesn't do it for me. He doesn't push the needle left to right. So like, I'm not going to use him as one, but like even then, you needed a running back for that team because this boy wasn't doing it. So it's funny. Fair point. Josh can mask it. Absolutely. Josh can do a lot of things. Josh is your running back if you need be. Break the freaking glass and he's good to go.
And also the offensive line too. It's that combo. That's why I had those 3 guys as the 3 most important players.
Great point. I do want to get into something off of this top 10. By the way, great top 10, by the way.
No, definitely. An hour and a half. That was great. I'm glad we did it. I really liked yours. I loved your viewpoint, by the way, on the 5-year outlook. I think it's a really cool way to view it, because I think there's plenty of different ways to view it. But I do love how we both came to the middle in that this defense. I mean,
you really had 4 offensive players on mine. I had 4 on mine. So I think it was great. By the way, super chat coming in from Richie Press. He goes, Rich says, here we go, kicking off the holiday weekend with a tenderloin cooked medium.
Come
on. All right,
you
don't want to go medium rare? Okay. With eggs and chilling with the best Bills reps. Give me that horn, baby. I got you. We got you. Appreciate you, Richie Fresh.
Richie, I like everything you said, but Rico, you nailed it. That's got to be medium rare. Don't disrespect a nice tenderloin by turning it into a piece of rubber.
I used to be that guy that disrespected the tenderloin. I used to be a well done guy. If it ain't, I need it dead, and I don't want. I needed to be a corpse and dead. I mean, I don't want life left in it. And now I've learned to appreciate. A little more tender, a little more juice in it. So I like that. Now, speaking of juice, let me see if I can segue this one. Speaking of juice, my guy Kaiir Elam had a lot of juice for the Buffalo Bills in media. And obviously, we all know Kaiir Elam from being a first-round draft pick for the Buffalo Bills. He's been given ample opportunity to try and remain as a cog in this team, on this defense, but he just could not put it together. Now, he's still a player that Bills fans still respect. He worked hard, but it just did not work out. Brandon Beane decided to take matters to his own hands and say, you know what? This experiment did not work. I'm trading you, and I'm getting a draft pick back. I could not believe Brandon Beane was able to get a draft pick back out of that. That being said, Kaiir Elam was traded to the Dallas Cowboys. Now, before Kaiir Elam went to the Cowboys, he had really good things to say about the Bills. He was thanking them about the opportunity that he got. You know what I mean? The cliche, handwritten, I don't got to tell you. That's just what it is. The PR, you guys did great. Thank you for my time at Buffalo. Awesome. He is now a member of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, before I get into, by the way, smash that like chat. Listen, if you guys are in the chat right now, smash that like right now. Listen to my man P Money. He's talking. He's talking right now. You let that. Now, I want to try to get the audio, or I don't know if it was an audio for Kaiir Elam. If it's not an audio, I will read verbatim what Kaiir Elam had to say about his time in Buffalo when speaking to, I guess, you know what I mean, when speaking to reporters from Dallas. And I know they like to kind of grab sound bites, and they like to try to, you know what I mean, kind of get an idea of what, you know, what it was like where you played before. And we're about to get there. So let me try to find what Mr. Kaiir had to say, and we'll get to it. So his words were, and I quote, "I feel like the energy here is something I've never been part of," Kaiir Elam said, talking about his time with the Dallas Cowboys right now. He's freshly into the stadium. He feels like the energy is not there. So him saying he feels like the energy is not, it's not the same. I feel like the energy is not the same. Something I've never been a part of. Most folks, if you ask Trey White, Dane Jackson, Jordan Poyer, Jordan Phillips, they say that the energy in Buffalo is like nothing they've ever been a part of. There's nothing like Buffalo. Even Rasul Douglas was like, "Yo, I've been a rich franchise with the Green Bay Packers and Buffalo Bills, man. This is something different." But Kair's like, "I'm in Dallas, and there's been nothing. Yeah, I've never experienced something like this before." Is he capping? Does he truly feel this way? Or is this just, he just word diarrhea and he just happened to spit that out and now he can't take those words back? Bob, what are your thoughts on Kaiir Elam's words when describing his time in Dallas, saying that it's like it's something that he's never experienced before?
Well, for starters, this is a former first-round draft pick who did not work out, did not come close to working out really with the team that drafted him. So he's getting a new opportunity in Dallas, which is, of course, America's team. They're once again leading the way in terms of primetime games this year, despite coming off of a year where they didn't make the playoffs and they were not very fun to watch. I understand why he views that as exciting, right? It's a whole different mecca, Dallas is. And it's a whole new start for Kaiir Elam, and one that I'm sure he's excited about because he needs that. It did not go well for him in Buffalo, and he needs an opportunity to restart his career. This is a former first-round draft pick that currently, right now, has to go out and prove that he still remains, he should still remain in the league, or it still remain at least in the conversation of getting on the field on a routine basis. So I understand the comments. You have to boil it down to the idea that these guys have to say these things when they move on to different teams. And I go back to what I thought was the total contrast of this in 2019 when Cole Beasley left the Dallas Cowboys and joined the Buffalo Bills.
Good point.
Dallas, of course, has state-of-the-art everything. I've toured Jerry World. It's unbelievable. And when Cole Beasley came to Buffalo, I remember all of us thinking it was crazy that Cole Beasley had glowing, raving reviews on the setup that the Bills had upon his arrival. And I believe he would say that he thought it was better than Dallas's. But the one thing he was for certain on is that he thought he was a much better fit in Buffalo. And he said, quote, back in 2019, "It's been a lot more fun playing out there with the guys." He had a lot more fun in Buffalo. He felt the situation was a lot better for him. He thought he was being way more utilized in Buffalo than he was in Dallas. So you have a team, the exact same team, where the Bills take a player from Dallas. He had the same things to say about the Bills that Kaiir Elam had to say about the Cowboys in the exact opposite situation. So I think one of two things here. I think one, Cole Beasley and Kaiir Elam are probably both right. Beasley was a better fit in Buffalo. You get the better quarterback. He was more utilized for sure. And he was an all-pro when he was on the Bills. So the results spoke for themselves. He was in a better situation. And now Kaiir Elam, you're going from the team that drafted him and it didn't work out. You could argue that he's in a better situation because now he feels like he has a chance to restart his career. And he knows it wasn't going to work out in Buffalo. So I am understanding of the comments. I don't think there's anything malicious there. What is he supposed to say? Oh, I wish the Bills would have retained me and I wish I was still in Buffalo. he's saying what he's supposed to. But I do think there's some truth in it. And I don't think it's a diss at Buffalo. I think it's more of an opportunity for Kaiir Elam to resurrect his career. And, once again, it is Dallas. If there's anywhere you want to be, I would say, if you do have to get a new start somewhere else, a lot of these guys would probably pick there because it is America's team. And I think that he's just got to be excited about what awaits him, a new coach. You have Dak Prescott coming back off the injury here. So I get it. I don't think there's any malintent there. But I just found it funny that Cole Beasley had the exact same comments to say about Buffalo when leaving Dallas as essentially Kaiir Elam had to say about Dallas leaving Buffalo.
Now, did it have to go that route? This is my thing. You have every right to say what you need to say. You could have left it at, hey man, I'm getting a new opportunity. I had a great time at Buffalo, which he said before. So you can't fault the guy. And we can't sit here and blast him. And I'm certainly not going to blast him. Like you said, what do you want him to say? Right. Hey man, like I'm on a new team. I'm trying to get in good with the fan base. I'm trying to get in good with the media crew. I'm trying to get in good no matter how I can do it. This is my career here. So like Bills fans getting upset with Kaiir Elam saying, hey man, not like the energy that I've ever had. I don't really see any fault in him saying that. And it might be different. It really might be different. Now, what I'm understanding too is apparently he and Coach Butler didn't really see eye to eye. And when he mentioned to the nature of like, I feel really supported here. So I think it's a shot at the position coach, and maybe those two didn't butt heads. And I've been in positions where coaches, me and the coach we didn't butt heads, but there was something where I didn't think this person was fit for coaching the squad, and they don't know what they're talking about in terms of like how to get me proper and who should be in the starting pecking order, all that good stuff. It happens in sports. And I think that's what took place. And I guess he never got in Coach Butler's good books and essentially got him moved away. He had his opportunity, and it's not like he didn't do well. In his moments that he's had some good moments. But for the most part, Bedford came in and took over and essentially got his contract. It should be Kaiir Elam with that damn contract. Kaiir Elam should have been the one getting that long-term contract, but it's not. It's Bedford. So now he's got to go to Dallas. He's got to go and figure things out. And maybe it's the best situation for him where he can actually really get into man-to-man coverage, him and Trayvon Diggs and them boys out there. Maybe they'll be the best freaking tandem in the game. You just never know. But I'm not mad about it, man. Yo, Kyrie's got to do what he's got to do. Just like no different than what you said. Perfect situation. Cole Beasley came in and says, yo, man, this is a great place. And Dallas fans were raking that brother through the coals. They are raking Cole Beasley because Cole Beasley was talking greasy. Now, Cole Beasley is a chatterbug. That boy, he can hold his own. He knows how to chat with some folks. So I ain't tripping. I ain't mad at it. Doesn't seem like you are either. Good luck to Kaiir. And we'll see how it all plays out. And if it plays out the way it's supposed to, where he actually excels and does well, kudos to him. But if it doesn't, kudos to Brandon Beane by saying, I moved on. I got a draft pick. I'm happy with what I'm doing.
We've talked about this before. How many players has Brandon Beane moved off from that have gone on to have prolific careers elsewhere? And the list is this long, if long at all. I really don't think that they're
Who has left Buffalo and has actually in under Brandon Beane's tenure? Who's left Buffalo and actually have done well for themselves outside of that?
There's one.
I'll try to think. Honestly, I don't know.
One defensive lineman. Somebody. It's on the tip of my tongue. I think that's who it is.
Poona Ford, and that's I've heard that too. Poona Ford has gone out and done good things. I think Quentin Jefferson did the same thing. He left a little bit, but
maybe
he was
that's
never
who I'm thinking
our guy. He was never our guy. Wyatt Teller.
No, that's who I'm thinking of. Wyatt Teller. Yep.
Wyatt Teller would be your best bet because we drafted Wyatt Teller, and I guess we didn't feel that he was good enough, or we could get something for him. And Wyatt Teller has gone on to do great things.
That was who I was thinking of. But that's it, really. And this invokes no emotion out of me. Like I don't know why you'd be upset about this. Like you said, this is what you have to say. And what would you want him to say? I mean, I would want him to say this. If he said the opposite, I would be like, what is he doing? You want this guy to succeed. But in all fairness to him, there could be some truth behind that. It's got to be a way different vibe in Dallas. What's the expectation for the Dallas Cowboys? I mean, the expectation for the Buffalo Bills, they are favored in all 17 games to open up the year. Vegas has them favored in every single game. the expectation for the Buffalo Bills is as high as it can possibly get in the league. For Dallas, it's, can you rebound after last year? Can Dak Prescott get back to form off the injury? Can this new coach hold their head above water in that division with Philadelphia? And can they find a way to get back into the playoff mix? That's their current situation. So for Kaiir Elam, it might be a better situation because the stakes aren't as high. The pressure is not nearly as high. And that might be better for a guy who's trying to resurrect his career. I could imagine it'd be very difficult to do that with a team like the Bills that are currently in the window that they are right now.
Great question coming from John Robert. He says, we were talking about like Bills players that's gone elsewhere to
Harrison Phillips.
Harrison Phillips, that's right. So he'd be one guy that has done well for himself outside of Buffalo. So good on him.
He did well in Buffalo too, though. I just think it wound up coming down to money, really.
You know what? Maybe it did. I think it did come down to money because he got paid handsomely out in Viking land. So kudos to him, honestly. And I'd love to see it. So
I love Harrison. I think he's great, by the way.
Yeah, Kaiir Elam, good luck to you out there, brother. And hopefully you do well and you get your money's worth. And maybe it'll be you and Trayvon Diggs out there, or you surpass Trayvon Diggs and you're the guy, but he got paid, so he's gonna be there for a little bit. So kudos to that brother right there. Listen, man, almost 2 hours in the books. I know I left my iPhone upstairs, which I had all my notes in there of what I wanted to touch on. Was there anything else that we were talking about earlier that we could touch on?
Yeah, so the Buffalo Bills, it broke live while I was on the show the other day, and I want to get your thoughts on it. The Bills have been selected to be the team featured on the offseason Hard Knocks starting on August 5th. Training camp with the Buffalo Bills will be featured on Hard Knocks for the first time in franchise history, and I absolutely love this. And I shared my thoughts the other day, but I'm interested to get your thoughts on this, Rico, because to me, this is just one more awesome feature of the Josh Allen-led Buffalo Bills that we'll have, to live on for eternity here. That under the hood look at this team that has been the best team this franchise has had in a quarter century. I couldn't be more excited to watch this. How do you feel about it?
Well, you talking about the protector?
No, Hard Knocks.
Oh, the Hard Knocks. You know what? I used to be afraid that the Bills were going to be on Hard Knocks. I was like, please not us. Please us not. We're not good enough. We're not there yet. We're still trying to find, we're trying to find who we are. We're trying to discover who we are. We're not ready there. We don't have an identity yet. Please skip us. And every year they skipped us, it was like, whew, all right, I'm good. But now that we're on Hard Knocks for training camp, I like it. And I'll tell you why I like it. Because this is going to allow, everyone already knows about Bills Mafia being who they are, but they're going to get to know a lot of these players. We're going to get to know a lot of these players and on the insider on how McDermott works, because you get to hear, not that we don't know how McDermott works, but we're going to get to hear McDermott talk and cut a player, and that's going to be rough, right? Beane cut a player and so on and so forth. And guys that we know is going to be tough. Oh, we like X player and he's got cut or surprise cut or whatever the case is. But more so, I think this puts a pressure on the team to get it freaking done, right? Last year in the stadium, Josh getting off his MVP. So there's going to be a lot of that conversation going in there. Keon going into year 2. Kincaid, we're going to be paying attention to Kincaid. The defensive front to see how Ed Oliver deals. There's going to be a lot of people trying to perform heavy. So I think we're going to be prepped even more so to have success based on this us going on Hard Knocks. I like it. I think I do like it. At first I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to want it when potential every year we could. But the fact that they gave it to us, embrace it. Let's go for it. Let's roll. I like it, man. What are your thoughts?
I absolutely love it. And, the point I had made was that this is the benefit of having a Josh Allen-led team. There's no reason anymore to be upset by, this could be a distraction, or, the Bills have such an erratic schedule playing in primetime all the time. No, this is the reason to be excited. This is the reason to buy in even further and enjoy what this team currently is, despite not winning or getting to a Super Bowl yet. This is as good as it gets in the league. And we've been waiting for a team like this, at least I have, for my entire life. And so because of that, it's moments like this that I don't look at in a negative light at all. I think of it only as positive, because we get even more exposure to this team that is not going to be like this forever. And I love it. But you made a good point that I think is probably being lost on a lot of people who are not happy about this. the majority, if not all of the teams featured on this usually are not good. It's usually teams that missed the playoffs the year prior and have a ton of question marks surrounding them. Outside of if James Cook is going to get a contract or not, what is the question mark surrounding the Bills? And that is why I think this is going to be enjoyable. We went into the Jets Hard Knocks. Oh my God, what's the Aaron Rodgers situation going to look like? Are the Jets finally going to go from being a team that hasn't made the playoffs in over the last decade to a team that's going to be a contender? We're watching that, right? You know, the Cleveland Browns, another one of those teams. Are they finally going to be something? A million questions surrounding them. Every one of these teams always has something that you're looking out for. It's the Giants, for instance. We're watching the Giants in real time blunder the Saquon Barkley contract and give him up to their division rival who goes on to win the Offensive Player of the Year and damn near break the single season rushing record. We're watching all this dysfunction. That's not what this is going to be. The NFL is taking a different approach here where it's going from watching the unraveling and the dysfunction to watching what a good organization looks like internally. And that's why it's exciting. And it's not like the other ones. Everybody keeps bringing up this curse, this Hard Knocks curse.
What's this curse about? I don't understand this curse.
Basically, the teams there's never been a team to be featured on Hard Knocks and not win a Super Bowl. Well, that's because the teams featured on Hard Knocks for the vast majority of its existence have been bottom barrel football teams. This is the
has it always been that way? Bottom barrel teams that
almost entirely. Yeah, almost entirely.
Okay.
So this is a whole different situation. You throw that out the window. I mean, yeah, newsflash, the New York Giants weren't going to win the Super Bowl after being on Hard Knocks, whether they were on it or not. It wasn't going to happen. So I don't look at any of that, because I think it's irrelevant. All these other teams that have been featured on this have been teams that are nowhere close to what the Buffalo Bills currently are. That's why I think it's exciting. This is a whole different iteration of Hard Knocks. And you're not going into it being like, oh man, like, can't wait to see, you know, so-and-so do this or that. You're saying that, but in a positive way. You're not looking at it saying, oh, this dramatic situation here and this dramatic situation there. No, I'm looking forward to seeing like McDermott with his family, or maybe a day in the life of Josh Allen. Like, that's what I'm looking forward to. And I think that's what this is really going to be. There's not a whole lot going into this, Rico, that you can look at through a microscope and say, oh, I can't wait to overanalyze the dysfunction of the Buffalo Bills. It doesn't exist.
Listen, Walter put it perfectly. If you're worried, just think of it as an R-rated Bills embedded.
Exactly.
They're already doing it with embedded.
Right.
You're pretty much watching Hard Knocks while you're watching embedded. This is just going to be a more hardcore, like, all right, this is the real deal. They might have a few moments where they're like, hey, man, we're just going to film you guys. Just have your conversation. Do what you got to do. Do your thing. It's just embedded, guys. It's just embedded. Just deal with it. You'll be fine.
And John's making a good point. There was a rule in place where the team featured on Hard Knocks the following year had to be a team that didn't make the playoffs. And they got rid of that rule. I think the Bills are the first team off of that new rule. Okay. So it's no secret as to why they went this angle. And I think it's interesting because...
You say no secret?
No, I don't think it's any secret as to why the Bills were chosen based on the new parameters of selecting a team. They wanted to go in a different direction, it feels like, from what they've been doing in the past, featuring these non-playoff teams.
Yeah,
they're looking at it. And another thing, too, is like the Bills are a ratings machine. Over the last half decade, they're tied for fourth, I believe, for most primetime games. Dallas has already been featured on this. The Chiefs already have a mini documentary coming out on ESPN, and they've had, you know, Patrick Mahomes was on quarterback there or whatever. Like, the Bills were a really logical choice in almost every way for this, and I'm super excited about it.
It is, and I'm a big fan of it, and I like what I think. Who was it? Somebody put it. There you go. And I like what Papa Bill says here. He goes, hey, man, Hard Knocks, Hallmark movie, 15-2 season, number 1 seed, defeating the Chiefs, defeating the Eagles, Commanders, San Francisco to become the Super Bowl 60 champs. Bro, it's really early, but I like it. Damn it, Papa Bill, I like it. I like it. I mean, if this is what it's got to be, and all those got to come together, and it's that storybook. I want it to be like the Toronto Raptors. When the Toronto Raptors won their championship, bro, it was a good feeling. I mean, I'm Canadian myself, so like when your home country wins it, it's cool. Could it ever happen again? Probably not. The Bills winning it this year would be amazing. Would it ever happen again? Maybe, because we still got a franchise quarterback. But golly, man, this gives me Raptors vibes, man. This could be the year where, you know, nobody expected it, and then we get it freaking done, man. Love it. I like Hard Knocks, man. I like how they're gonna go about it.
No doubt. And James is saying that the Bills are the first team on Hard Knocks that was a playoff team in previous seasons. they can show how it's supposed to be done. So yeah, this just once again to those who are like, oh, the curse or whatever, like this isn't a good thing. This is a whole different version of this.
Yeah,
a whole different
agree.
version. So great point there, James. I actually didn't know that. I knew about the playoff situation, having not made it the year prior, being featured on it the following year. But so essentially, the Bills are going to be the best team to have ever been featured on Hard Knocks based on these new rules, I guess.
I kind of like it. It's showing how a playoff team should look like. It's a lot of pressure, though. It's a lot of pressure. Are they doing it the right way? And maybe this is what you need, because what do you learn from a losing team? That's trying to rebuild.
No, it's just entertaining. That's all it is.
Right.
It's entertaining.
It is.
Right?
Yeah. Because now you're also looking at teams that have drafted a perennial player that's going to build them up, and how do they treat that rookie? Now you're going to a team that has got a veteran staff, it's got an elite quarterback, and they're on the cusp. They're absolutely on the cusp. So that'll be fun. And then on top of that, who does Hard Knock have for what division are they doing for this season? AFC North?
Who, the Bills?
I know we're Hard Knocks for the training camp.
No, they're doing the NFC Easter in season.
Oh, in season NFC East. Okay, that should be a good one, actually. That should be a great one. So that'll be fun, man. So I'm glad that they gave us training camp. So maybe we're the model of like what you're supposed to do in training camp. I mean, listen, every team does things differently. It'll be interesting to see how they are. Who changes? Does McDermott? Do we fall in love more with Dion Dawkins? Do we fall in love more with Josh Allen? Do we find out a guy that we just don't like? I think it's gonna be, this team is too likable not to like it. Everybody's a great. I mean, listen, our freaking first round draft pick sitting here dapping everybody up. It's not even his squad. Come on, man. Crazy. You got Ray Davis, Max Hairston, Deion Walker back together again on the same squad. That's crazy. You got to love it, man. I'm sure that's going to be a thing on Hard Knocks. It's going to be fun.
420 lady doesn't love it. He's saying I gotta leave. I gotta go and believe in the fairy tale together with the WGR guy. What fairy tale? What's going on? I don't know.
Please hire Z-Bot.
He's not loving the Hard Knocks. I don't think it's a fair. What's a fairy tale about it? It's a fact. I mean, it's a fact that the Bills are going to be a whole different type of Hard Knock situation than we've seen in the past.
I don't understand comments like that.
What's the fairy tale? Based on the Bills' current situation, this is as much of a fairy tale as I've witnessed from this team in my whole life. It's as close as it gets, I would say. I mean, would you not agree? In my lifetime.
Listen, I'm just fixated on that comment. I hate comments like this. Go be with WGR and have a fairy tale. What's the fairy tale, bro? Like, what do you mean? What do you want? Who said that? I gotta go back. Those things I can't let go. Lady, 420 lady. What would you rather? No WGR. No embedded. You might as well just remove embedded as well too. Take off all that stuff and just be the Borongo. Just read newspaper on your team. Read newspaper and get your magazines at the old Walgreens. Come on.
And there's people who don't love it, like Certified Genius. He's saying, I'm against it. Anything that can distract or distort or disclose is exactly not what we need now that we're right there. See, I don't view it like that.
What's the distraction? That's
how I see it. The HBO crew there isn't going to make the Buffalo Bills, with the schedule that they have going into this season, completely fall off of a cliff. I don't see what the distraction is. I mean, Josh Allen's married to an A-list celebrity. The guy himself's an A-list celebrity. There's distractions to be had already. There's film crews already there to begin with. You have every training camp. You have the local news there. You have NFL Network there. You have whoever there. You have the embedded crew there. It's just a couple more cameras and a couple more interviews. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I think that this is a mindset that is ingrained in all of us because of the former iteration of the Buffalo Bills, where we're so scared of all of these different things because we just want everything to go right. But I look at it in the opposite way, because everything has gone right. It just hasn't culminated into the ultimate prize. But I can't for the life of me imagine that this is going to be viewed as anything other than almost a celebration of one of the league's favorite teams right now. That's how I see it.
See, this is my beef. When it came, and this falls under the same thing, and I'm going to get to it. My man Hill said, what up, Hill? Hill says, there's potential for it to be a distraction, though, not black and white. Listen, let me put it this way. The NFL is full of distractions. You have guys that are making millions of dollars. If they can't focus in front of a couple cameras here and there and do their freaking job, Are you kidding me? What distract? They already have their embedded cameras that are there too. It's no different than saying, coach, don't draft that kid that, let's just use Max Hairston. Max Hairston had a mix up in college where him and a young lady got together. She said this and he did that. He got cleared, whatever the case is. No, you can't handle that. So, coach, what I pay you millions of dollars for, don't handle that because he'll be a distraction. Bruh, it's a grown man. This is not a distraction. If it's a distraction, we don't deserve to win a championship. We don't deserve to be nowhere. If you're laser focused, shouldn't matter. Get the job done. And that's it. I think we have a great potential to get the job done. If a couple cameras sway you away from your goal, then we got bigger problems than you think. Problems than you think.
The counterpoint would be that Patrick Mahomes was on that quarterback series and won the Super Bowl in the hardest route they've had to get there, having to play on the road entirely, and he won Super Bowl MVP. And that was, you could argue, far more of a distraction than this because those cameras followed Patrick Mahomes everywhere he went for months outside of the facility. And they went on to win the whole thing, and he won the MVP of the game. So when you're a team like the Bills, the Chiefs, or whatever, things like this are not going to deter you from what you got going on.
Exactly right. Cognitive dissonance. Josh might give Bot and Pierre an interview, but I doubt he give Rico one with all that issues talked about him in the past.
What
Josh really's petty like that. Well, I'll have you know, sir. Josh and I have chopped it up on small occasions, and if he wanted to be petty, he could have been petty a long time ago.
So you got to fill me in here, by the way.
What's up?
And another reason here, Richie's saying Dallas, my ass, Buffalo's America's team. Buffalo has been an iteration of America's team under Josh Allen. They'll never be the Cowboys because of the international poll. The Cowboys are the Lakers, the Yankees. It's just different. But the Josh Allen Bills have been like America's sweetheart for a while, especially when they go up against the Chiefs.
Yep.
Everybody's rooting for Buffalo because everybody despises the Chiefs outside of the Kansas City area. So I get what you're saying. Like, they really have been one of the NFL's darlings. I mean, they feature them on primetime all the time. And this is why I enjoy this so much, because it's just not what it's ever been before, and how quickly it will end when Josh Allen hangs it up, and you'll be begging for moments like this again. But you got to fill me in here, Rico. My man Dan Brown is coming with two banger of a super chat. Two bangers. A $10 and a $20 saying the same thing. Rico, you need to tell Z-Bot in the chat what was said about you the other day and let the people know. Dan thought this was such an urgent message that he threw in two banger super chats. So you got to have something good for me here.
Dan's my guy. So I'm going to do Dan. I'm going to actually play Dan's audio. So that way you guys can hear from his mouth alone. Dan, do you want me to explain the story, or do you want me to play it from the audio? Just answer me in the chat right now. Play the audio or explain it to the people how.
Well, you're already teasing me with audio. I feel like I need to hear audio now.
I mean, the audio was him explaining what took place. For it is. So Dan can let me know if Dan is still in the chat. If not, I'll jump in there. So Dan, if you guys aren't aware of Dan is our guy. Dan was one that he says you can play the audio. Okay, I got you. So Dan is part of the BF, and he's one of our contributors, and he handles our Facebook page and the amount of people that come into our Facebook page, and he manages that part of it. And he's in our group chat. We have our group chat, and we chat it up. And Dan lives in Hawaii, all right? And he's also a server, and I think a server, is it for Disney? I can't remember. I know he works for a pretty big-time company. Anyway, so he's a server, and he's got a table. He's got guests that come out to Hawaii left, right, center. And he's got a full table of outsiders, if you will, right? Travelers. And he goes, hey, guys, I'm Dan. I'm your server. This and that, the third. And he goes, hey, where are you guys from? Right? The typical server. Hey, you guys from around here? It doesn't sound like you are. Oh, no, we're from Buffalo. So he goes, oh, Buffalo. So they start having chats about being in Buffalo. So let me find the audio, and I'll play it from there. All right. So as they're talking about they're from Buffalo, they start talking about the Bills. And obviously, when you start talking about Bills chat, that's what takes place. So let me see if I can find that audio from my mans. And here we go. Let me see if I got it. Can you guys hear this?
I mean, listen, the lady knows what she knows.
That's me there. Hold on.
I already love it.
So Where's that damn audio, Dan? Yo, do you get rid of the audio, bro? I'm in the chat right now. I can't find it. All right, I'll find it. So, okay, there it is. I'm scrolling when I can see it right in front of me.
Yeah, it's funny. So usually, I always ask my guests, I'm like, "Oh, where are you guys from?"
Can you guys hear that?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So they said they're all from Buffalo. So, we're chopping it up about the draft and and all that good shit. And the husband was telling me he's one of the lead guys building the stadium. So I'm like, oh fuck, that's sick. So he's like, you want to see pictures nobody's seen? I'm like, fuck yeah. So he's showing me, and he's fit, how they're finishing up the stadium and how the material they're using and how it's built, like how it's going to prevent, a lot of that, crosswind during the games and the rain and stuff like that. So I was like, wow, that's fucking sick. So that was pretty cool. And then, I mentioned to him, like, you guys follow the Buffalo Fanatics on like Instagram and YouTube. So I think half of them, I think their kids did, but yeah, so that's how it came to me. And the wife's like, oh yeah, I watch all the videos. She's like, that Rico he's so handsome. I swear to God, I just lost it at the table. I could not. I was dying, but it was cool though.
In front of the husband?
In front of the husband.
Yes.
In front of the husband. Your marriage is secure when you're like, yo, that
yes.
Rico cat, he's so handsome. Listen, man.
How great is that?
I can't listen. Humbly.
And then you responded, she knows what she knows. That was what the little clip was in the beginning. That is terrific.
I think I said something like this. Like,
she likes what she likes. I mean, can you blame the lady? Listen, I'm half with Kevin. Did she forget her glasses or something? But yeah, man, that's actually pretty cool that
is she kidding?
Buffalo Fanatics came up. I mean, listen, you never know who you're gonna meet and what they know. So actually really dope that that came about. But you can't just leave it at that, man. How did that context take place, bro? You got to let me know.
Anyway, so I found that funny.
Wow.
The people you meet is pretty cool. What I did grab from that is, and I found that fascinating. I'm like, Dan, thank you for letting me share that on the pod.
And thanks for making it known, Dan. Appreciate the super chats to get that out there. I'm glad we did that. That was great.
No doubt.
Did you tell Jenna, by the way? Did you tell Jenna? She must have loved that.
No, I didn't tell you. It's funny. I didn't tell her yet.
Oh, you gotta tell her.
She's so used to hearing that type of stuff. She's like, whatever, you know what I mean? And I hear it a lot often too. Like, oh, I'll go into events or whatever. And is that your wife? Oh, she's gorgeous. I'm like, oh, okay. Move on. All right. But crosswind, they're building the stadium to not have any crosswind. So there won't be any crosswind in that stadium. I found that fascinating. So the one advantage, if you will, that the Bills do have is how windy it is. And we happen to have, I guess, a good understanding of how to deal with the wind. Now we're going into a stadium that they're preventing the wind from being an issue. So maybe it might not be as home advantage as we think.
I got to tell you, I'm fine with it. You go to a game in December when it's 10 degrees out with the wind chill. If they can mitigate that even a little bit, then sign me up, because that's what makes it just almost unbearable at times being out in it. That is interesting, though. I mean, they're doing some real high-end stuff. I mean, they're going to...
Yeah, I heard, man.
The ability to make it as loud as it's going to be. I keep hearing about that. It's going to be crazy.
I hope to. Obviously, I plan to at least try to make a game. Eventually, the goal is to try to get my whole family to a game. I'd love to have that. That'd be a cool moment.
Definitely.
And that's why I appreciate. And you're gonna. I mean, I haven't had a chance to talk to you about it, but you're probably gonna shed a tear when this whole stadium shuts down, because I'm sure you've had moments with your family, your dad going to the game. So when the stadium does go, you're gonna have some teary moments. And then this new stadium, new memories get to be made. So I hope to at least try to get to a new stadium at least once or two games, maybe three, and maybe one of these days I become a season ticket holder. You never know these days, right? But fun nonetheless. I found that very, very fascinating. But that stadium is going to be something else, man. It is going to be a fun one.
As I keep saying, it is just beyond bittersweet, the whole situation. And you're right. I mean, I'm going to be definitely a bit sad, but I'm also very excited about the new one. It's funny because as much as my dad talked about Rich Stadium to me growing up, and you keep having like I love the pictures of the giant Marlboro advertisements all over the stadium. Like it just feels like a different world.
Ways, yep.
Yeah. And I always envision, like, you know, when people that are older than you tell you stories and you kind of play them back like a movie in your head, and you think of it in different ways, and you interpret it probably far different than what it actually was. I think that's interesting that I'll have the ability to do that with the Ralph, the way my dad kind of did that with Rich Stadium, however many years from now, where I'll be like, oh, you know, it didn't used to be this state-of-the-art thing. It used to be, you know, at the time, one of the more less, I mean, I'm trying to put it as kindly as I can because I love the Ralph more than anything, but as it stands right now, the way it stacks up to some of these other stadiums in the league, I mean, it's not even close when we're talking about state-of-the-art everything, but that's what makes it what it is. It's hard to explain to people who don't get it, but it's the charm. It's like going to your local dive bar that's a complete dump, but you love it because it's a dump. That's why you love it. Now, I'm not saying that the Bills Stadium is a dump, but when you go to the new Raiders Stadium and then you go to the Bills Stadium, yeah, you can't compare the two. You just can't. But you love the Bills Stadium because of what it is. It's not that. It's like Cheers, where everyone knows your name. And you go to these Bills, and you're probably too young for Cheers. Did you know Cheers? Well, funny, that was my dad's favorite show ever, so I do know Cheers.
That's funny.
Yeah,
that's funny. I never watched Cheers. First of all, I thought it was I was too like, although I knew about it, but I was too young to understand like what's the humor in this, right? But when you said dive bar and all that stuff, I felt like, you know, that might be like Cheers. There might be some Cheers fans in the chat right now, so I figured I'd bring that up. But the fact you said, "Yeah, my dad told me about Cheers," I think it's funny.
Yeah, my dad still has the old Cheers VHS tapes. That was his show.
There you go.
He loved it. But how about you? First of all, how about BF making its way out to the dinner table in Hawaii? That's incredible. But that to put the cherry on top of the wife complimenting your dashing looks to Dan, that's an incredible moment. I mean, you can't top that. These moments, we live for these moments, by the way. It doesn't get better.
Listen, you as you get older, you don't get these compliments as often as you can. All right. So there's a bit of charm that goes into it. And hopefully, if she and the husband and the children are watching, shout out to y'all.
Big time.
I mean, and I hope that you tipped my man Dan very well. Actually, I asked Dan if they tipped him. Dan, can I share how much they tipped you?
If I can. These people are already becoming some of my favorites.
They tipped him well. I will say that. What would you say is a good tip?
Like good?
Yeah.
Or like really good?
I want to see what Dan said. Because that was a Dan. I don't know if you're still watching. Can I share how much they tipped you, bro? If you're still watching, because they had a great meal. Because what I said to Dan was, I'm like, yo, you built the rapport right then and there. So they must have loved you from the whole time. So by the time they were ready to pay, they probably tipped you well, and that they did. So
you got it. You're in Hawaii and you meet a fellow Buffalo native, like
that's crazy.
You have to. I love doing that. It's so funny. You see Bill's stuff all the time where I'm from and in Buffalo, of course. The second you see it in any other remote location, it's the best. It's the coolest thing ever. Even down here where I'm at, I know I'm still in New York, but this is not. I mean, this is Jets, Giants, Patriots territory. Whenever I get it, even down here in New York, I still love it. Much less Hawaii. That's crazy.
No doubt about it. By the way, people always give me shit because I've never seen Seinfeld. Oh,
they should give you shit.
They absolutely should. You should be lashed.
Yes,
25 times for not being able to see that. My gosh,
get on it.
I'm a big fan of dropping TV show lines or movie lines or music lines in random conversations because something might stir up. Like when you said Cheers, I was about to tune the "Everyone Knows Your Name." I was gonna go into that, but I was like, he might not know that. But anything related to the show The Office, if I hate it when I reference The Office and they're like, huh? I lose my ish. I was like, all right.
What's your favorite line from Seinfeld?
I don't know why this gets to me. I don't know why, because I laugh my ass off when Kramer doesn't want to wear the ribbon. He goes, I don't want to wear the ribbon.
Yeah, it's great.
And Buddy's like, hey, get a little of this guy. This guy doesn't want to wear the ribbon. Who doesn't want to wear the ribbon? Oh my God.
The ribbon.
Why that makes me laugh, I don't know. And that's just one of many.
There's two for me that are all time. They're two of my favorite quotes of all time. The one is the race, where Jerry has to race against his former high school classmate. They have to come up with that whole scheme that Jerry doesn't know George because they're trying to re-race, and he got the early start, right? So
classic.
Jerry's talking about how he said he vowed he never wanted to race again. And they're in, I think, Elaine's apartment, and he's telling the story of how this came about, the whole race story. And he said, "I choose not to run," right? And he grabs the glass of whatever he has in front of him. He chugs it. And he goes, it's like you think he's sipping whiskey, right? And he chugs the drink, and he goes, "Man, that's some tart cider."
That's your line.
And then the other one, George walks into Jerry's apartment like he always does, just opens the door, got something to say. He walks in and he goes, "Well, my friends, sometimes in life, the gods smile down upon you." And Jerry goes, "Did you finally get someone to take that Canadian quarter?"
That gets you. And how they come up with these lines, and they come up with this
Genius.
Larry David is unbelievable. I just found out and that Curb Your Enthusiasm is improv.
Yeah. They have a loose set. They have an idea of the story, and then they just roll.
They just go.
That's why throughout the show, you just see Larry like laughs a lot. Like if you notice, like he's always just laughing.
Because I know that now, I'm a way bigger fan with that. They give you the premise of what the scene's going to be.
Yeah.
This is what it is. This is what the conversation should go. Love it. Oh, that I'm a big fan of that. Any improv, we're good to go. By the way, my man Walter says, "You heard it here, folks. Rico is why we haven't won the Super Bowl." No way. We don't have at least one if Rico watched this show. Listen, man, we're going to win a damn Super Bowl. We're going to win one. We're going to take it back to the house. That's what it's going to come out to. That's what it's going to come out to. My man said, "I think Rico's Canadian too." Yes, I am. How do you guys not know this by now? Yes.
Yeah,
come on, guys, get it together. Get it together. And if I were to be born in the United States, I wouldn't mind being born in somewhere Midwest. Could you see me as a Midwestern guy?
Yeah, I guess.
Where in the Midwest?
I don't know. My sister's out in Arizona. I wouldn't mind being in the Midwest. I love Colorado. I mean, I wouldn't mind being out there.
Let me go a little south in Colorado. I'm not trying to be up there. I'm already up here.
Yeah.
A little south.
I love the state of Washington. I know you want to go lower.
Oklahoma? You think I could do well in Oklahoma?
Maybe. I'll tell you what, man. If I was a single man with no obligation to anything, like no obligation to family,
where would you want to live?
I'd be in Texas in 2 seconds. 2 seconds. The real estate videos that pop up on my feed of Dallas, Texas, of Texas property, and the amount of money it costs for what you get, I can't even wrap my head around.
Do you think that's cap? Because I see that all the time too, and I'm like, as a Canadian, I asked ChatGPT when the whole Canadian elections was going on, and there was a lot of Canadians saying, "I'm not living here anymore. I'm moving. I'm going to another country." So I was like, you know what? Let's just say I sold my house and I made, I don't know, $300,000 minimum. I'm hoping that that's how much is my house is worth, maybe more. Who knows, right? In this market, where in this United States, I used the whole globe, and I said United States. Where in the United States should I move that gives me education, safety, blah blah blah, all the good things that you want to have? You know, the first place they told me to go to?
Texas,
Tennessee.
Tennessee is great.
Go to Tennessee. This is where you want to live. And then I was like, okay, what's next? North Carolina.
Also great.
I was like, really? North Carolina, huh?
Both Carolinas are phenomenal.
Florida was on the list as well. Florida.
I wouldn't do Florida, but the other two, I could do easily.
Well, there you have it.
The Texas property, though, like you compare
Alabama
it,
was definitely going to be on the list, but it wasn't. But Tennessee was on that list.
You compare, like you see these videos, like the same house that you see in the video that they're selling for like $350,000 would cost like $2.5 million in New York. And it just makes you sick. Like it makes you literally sick to your stomach. Like what the value you can get, like $500,000 in downstate New York is going to get you, I'm not kidding you, probably a 1,200 square foot house. But based on the videos that for some reason pop up on my feed, it's not like I'm going out of my way to search Dallas or Texas real estate. They pop up and I'll see like a $500,000 house in Dallas is like 5,000 square feet. Everything in the thing is absolutely brand new. Now, granted, you're probably in a remote location. You're probably, 40 minutes outside of either Houston or Dallas or whatever. But what I'm saying is, like, if you don't have any allegiance to a home base or a family or whatever, like, man, it's got to be not half bad, to say the least.
Well, I should, now that your phone's right next to you, by the way, so you've screwed yourself. So now you're going to get more real estate because your phone's listening to you. You know that.
Well, they should know by now that I just said I can't do it. I'd like to do it, but I cannot do it. Yeah.
So maybe they'll find you somewhere else to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Texas is a big state. So, I mean, listen, I see all these great places that you can go to. Somebody told me the best place to go is, was it not Maine? There was this huge, massive house, but like nobody ever, Utah.
Oh, yeah.
Somewhere near Utah. Somebody's like, yo, that's where you want to move. And they're like, but nobody goes there, so don't even bother. So you never know.
Well, apparently there's a lot more people going there than there once was, but we met a lot of people out at the Gorge for Dave Matthews Labor Day weekend. They were all from around the Salt Lake City area, and they couldn't have spoken higher of it. They love it out there. Love it. And it looks gorgeous. Utah's one of the only states I haven't been to, and I'd like to soon because, man, it looks great. But from the people I've met that are from there, they couldn't speak higher of it.
That would... You travel a lot, my friend.
Yeah.
Good on you. Good on you.
I did it while I could. You know,
your bucket list should be all NFL away teams. That should be anybody's bucket list. That'd be sick if somebody.
That's a tough thing that I know. I've done probably, I don't know, 7 or 8. Knocking off all of them, man, that's an accomplishment I am incredibly envious of. I mean, you really got to be, putting in the work. But God, what a cool dude. Me and my dad say it all the time. We would say it all the time growing up. Like, if we were to hit the lottery, that's all we would do. Like, we would get on the flight, and then you'd go from like the NCAA basketball tournament final. You get on a flight, you'd go to Augusta a couple weeks later, you'd go to the Masters, and then in the NFL, like, you'd go to all the playoff. Like, you would just go. That's what I would do. If I had unlimited money, I would just be going to all of these events nonstop.
I love it too. By the way, Walter asked me a question. Rico, what do you want for your Canada flag football team? Can you field a squad? And I think I probably could. So you guys don't know who this player is, but I've been following this player in Canadian University for a while. He got signed by the Green Bay Packers. He goes by the name of where's he at? Where's my guy at? His name is Taylor Elgersma. Huge boy, 6'5", 6'6", cannon for an arm. He's my quarterback. Mobility is unreal. These Canadian quarterbacks can run CFL. That's what you got. Then give me obviously our guy right now, Josh Palmer. Give me Chuba Hubbard. Give me Chase Claypool. Give me Javon Holland. I'm looking at all Canadian players right now. And Sidney Brown. And you want Chase Brown, the running back. So I'll have 2 guys I can mess around with. And Houston, Texas got a receiver named Jared Wayne. I think we'd be a decent team.
You are illustrating to me right now the point I made the other day. I don't understand this at all. How any team is going to come within 50 points of the American flag football team.
Don't say that. You don't know what you're talking about. Don't say that. Don't say that.
Then please tell me how it's going to be the opposite of that.
Football is not. It's a different game. It's different. When I tell you it's different, I absolutely mean it. By the way, come on over here for a quick second. Come here. I'm about to explain the story to Jenna about.
Please.
I got complimented. Get over here and listen to me. I want you to be jealous. Be jealous. I'm super jealous. Come sit on Daddy's lap. Come sit on Daddy's lap.
Wow. Hi, Jenna.
Hi. How are you?
Wait, you got to hear this one. This is fantastic.
So, okay. Dan, you remember my buddy Dan? I told you that lives in Hawaii. So if we ever wanted to go to Hawaii, he was like, "Yo, come through." It's that the third. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so Dan was he was serving a table.
Yeah.
And he found out that the people at the table were from Buffalo. Oh. So he goes, "Oh, where are you guys from?" You know how that goes. Yeah. And they're like, "Yeah, I'm from Buffalo." And he goes, "Oh, cool." And they started talking about Buffalo. He's like, "Yeah, I'm a guy that works construction. I'm building the stadium and this and the third."
He's building the stadium?
The guy that, he's part of the crew. He's part of the crew that's building the stadium. And then Laura says hello. Hi. They haven't seen you in a long time. So he goes, "Yeah, do you guys know Buffalo Fanatics?" And then they're like, "Yeah, my kids listen to Buffalo Fanatics." And then the wife goes, and I want to quote it right, but she goes something to the nature.
Get it right. Make sure you get it right.
I'm like,
something to the nature of, I love Rico. He's so fine. No, listen to this. I want you to be jealous. He's so fine. Is he married? Something to the nature of, I want some in front of the husband. I mean, I'm just putting it out there.
I mean,
anyway, I'm joking, but she said,
so
I love Rico. He's so handsome, or something of that nature.
But you are handsome.
I blushed. I blushed.
I don't know why.
I blushed for you.
He gets hit on all the time.
Untrue.
No, that is not untrue. Yes.
Does that affirm, like, do you like that, or does it piss you off?
Oh, I definitely don't get mad.
No, but like, do you, is there something about it where you're like, oh, like, I kind of like that. You know what I mean? All right, good. I figured.
Yeah,
I figured.
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm kind of like, that's my stuff. You know what I
mean?
mean?
Exactly right.
I mean, if you're touching, like, you know what I mean, then I'll probably break your hand, because that's just, you know.
That's the exact way to be.
If they say something, I'm like, hell yeah. Yeah, he is.
Well, you go,
like that. Like, we're both very flirty. So I'm not like, the thing that attracted me to them the most when I started dating him was that, like, I know I'm a flirt. Bad. Like, I am. But he's super confident. So I don't have to worry about that.
Read that comment from right there.
Rico's the daddy. Yeah. That's why he got to say
it out loud
to me.
Say it out loud.
We're not having kids there, daddy.
Say it out loud. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. I wanted you to
no, I don't get
jealous. Be jealous. Are your hands clammy? Are you embarrassed? Are you okay?
I was put on the spot.
Is your heart beating? I'm not leaving you, Jenna. You're fine.
That's my right.
You're fine. All right.
My other arm.
Yeah, but listen, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this much. She gets hit on all the time. She'll go to the grocery store. Somebody's got to say something to her.
Though.
No.
I by more girls than boys.
No. She gets hit on just the same. They always say, "What up?" They're like, "Hey." They just know. And she's good to say, "I'm good. I'm married. Keep it pushing." It's not bad.
I love this for you guys. I love it.
I'm waiting for one that really challenges her and doesn't take no for an answer. Then I want to see how she deals.
Where do I go?
At that point, you almost got to just play along at that point, and then you got to balance at the last moment. You know,
she's a beautiful girl, so I know that she's gonna get hit on, and it comes with the territory. Like,
I think that's in gen, but I'm also like, if I see somebody who's attractive, I'm not afraid to say to you, like, oh, that person's attractive.
We've had this conversation. We agree entirely, because there's so many people. And that ends up being
attracted to somebody else. You're lying.
And that ends up being a problem in the relationship, because you're jealousy. Like, it ends up being exactly what you don't want it to be.
I got in trouble. I got in trouble one time with her. We weren't married yet. We were married?
No.
We were married.
We were married. I would have had like a whole reason to make a scene and tear your whole
We're at Best Buy. And I took her and my grandfather.
The last time he ever.
Yeah, I took her and I took her and my grandfather to Best Buy, and we're getting something, whatever. And there was a girl at the cashier.
Am I interrupting your eye?
There was a girl at the cashier, and
she was cute.
She was like, yeah, she was cute. She was a cute girl. And
your type, mixed.
My type, apparently.
I was like,
first of all, I don't have a type. Number one.
No, you don't have a type. You have a type.
I have a type, but I don't have
a type. But yeah.
Anyway,
you know that if you see somebody, you're like, that would be his type.
So what did I do?
Type. Well, I walked in and I could tell that, like, she was like, oh damn, and I was like,
yeah, she was looking. She was definitely looking for sure.
Duly noted. Yes, I'm aware.
So we're at the cash. We're paying at the cash, and then my grandfather walks out, and then I'm behind my grandfather, and she's behind me. So I did the gentleman thing by opening.
Oh yeah, you did. Such a gentleman.
I opened the door for my girlfriend to go through, and then I took a peek back.
And as he turned around, when he turned back around, my face was right here, and I was like, "I'm sorry. Do you have unfinished business you need to walk into?"
So I thought I was slick.
You were not slick,
but he was looking the same way.
Yeah.
So I can't even. So now I don't even bother. I just like listen. Don't do it in front
of me. If you're gonna flirt like away from me, and then come home and take it out on me.
Wouldn't you want me? Wouldn't you want me to flirt in front of you so you just know that it's just what it is?
If it was in a flirting situation, like a bar, and we were there to have time, it's really different. Like, you're going to Best Buy to buy a computer.
I was going to say, you haven't made it till you got hit on at a Canadian Best Buy. That's when you know that you have absolutely made
I was like, wrong one. Never again. Never do that again.
Was she part of the Geek Squad, Rico? Was she a Geek Squad member over at the Best Buy?
No, she was like a cashier. I was like,
I can tell you stories like
this. She was cute.
This one gets hit on, and this is I promise this is my last story because you're gonna go upstairs and we're gonna end this. But there was we went out to a bar I hate saying bar. I hate that. We went out to a club. We went out to a club. At the time, it was a club. I don't like saying bar because I don't do bars. We went out to a club, and she's getting a drink, and I'm just kind of let her do her thing. And this girl was heavy on this one.
Aggressive.
And I was like, yo, like I know when there's girl talk, and I know there's girl.
No, she wasn't she was a stud. Like she was actually. I was like, I'm straight, but if I wasn't.
She was aggressive on this one. I was like, but you gotta treat, I guess, studs, if you will, like a dude. So I went in there. I was like, hey, that's enough. Get going. We're here now. Kindly, you can get out of here. But you gotta treat him like dude.
But she wasn't though. She was like, nah, I'm good.
No, I said, no, wow. You are good. Get going.
Yeah, she was hot. I was like,
these studs are just as aggressive as the men.
No, more. Way more. Because I was like, my goodness.
You got to fight that off anyway.
She was pretty too, though.
I digress.
Should have hooked her up with the future shop girl.
Yeah.
Or Best Buy.
Yeah, I was just going to say the whole story could have had a full circle moment. It would have been great.
Well, thank you so much, my love.
Bye, Daddy.
And that's our story.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Oh, by the way, and remember how I was telling you guys that she's mixed? She's mixed. Daddy's black, mama's white. And
mixed with everything.
Yeah, but she's mixed with everything.
It's like Portuguese and Spanish and British and German and black and white and native.
Well, there you have it.
See?
All right. Family affair on a Friday night. I love it.
4Lady20 said you should have kicked her ass.
Oh, listen.
Sounds like you were close.
She never did it again. She put her head down, and I was like, please give me a reason. She didn't.
Listen, sometimes it's just the case. Just the case. Anyway, I figured you guys would enjoy that story because I knew that Jenna hasn't come down on the live show in a long time, so I figured why not? But
love you.
What you got? We good?
I got 2.5 hours in the books. I'm gonna go watch the Knicks. Hopefully, not blow it again tonight. I'm rooting.
They better not blow it again.
Yeah, they better not blow it again. So I'm gonna go watch that.
I'm not very happy that Minnesota is already down 2. I don't like that.
They're getting rolled, man.
I expected way more, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander doing his thing, the Canadian. So
yeah, shout out to the up north MVP for SGA. So I think they're gonna win it. I mean, the way they're playing, man.
Oh, they're playing good. They got great defense. That's the big thing, man. They're stifling defense, and you got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That boy, nice, man. That team is put together, well put together,
no doubt. Well, we'll see if the Knicks can find a way to go meet them in the finals. We're gonna go watch. But other than that, you good? You got it. You got it all pat?
Good, man. Did you guys enjoy the show? If you guys enjoyed the show, smash that like if you have. I wish that they made that chat on the bottom a little bigger.
I know it's very dark. You can barely see it, but I do like that they added that. It's cool.
That's pretty cool. That's not bad at all. Well, listen, man. Enjoy the Knicks game. Tell Carolina say what up.
I will,
and we'll keep it pushing. By the way, my man Richie said the exposure is cool and be happy, but we know the bigger prize. It's cool, but let's not be so grateful like when we broke the drought. I know that there was a super chat that came out that I wanted to make sure that we got that out there. My guy, Richie Fresh.
That was a top 10 grateful moment ever for me, by the way, Richie. I don't care what happens. I will never forget breaking the drought. That was an all-time moment. I'm sorry. I know how sad that sounds, but when you've had the sports fandom life that I've lived, that was the pinnacle at the time. And you could say it probably still is to some degree, for sure.
Real quick, before we get out of here, big time salute to Dion Dawkins for pretty much essentially making the NFL Creative Protector of the Year award. That's going to get a lot of people paid, by the way. That's going to get a lot of people paid because now guys are going to be like, yo, I won Protector of the Year last year. Like, what do you mean I don't get a contract? I was one of the best in the game. So the question is, do you have one for all linemen? Do you have one for right tackle, right guard, or is it just linemen in general? I wonder how they're going to break that down. I feel like it's just going to be linemen in general, and we go from there. So that'll be interesting. That will be fun. Now, how do you side the metric? Is PFF going to be now a huge metric as to how this is played out? How many sacks they allow, how many pressures? I mean, all that's going to be a factor. So we'll see how that plays out. Yeah, your mic is out. Your mic is out. That just tells me that it's time for us to lock it down and put things away. Ladies and gentlemen, my guy Bot, his mic is done. It's pretty much, he had his mic on a timer. So he said after 2.5 hours, you got to shut this thing down. It's over and done with. So that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Smash that like if you guys have not smacked the like. We are out of here. My guy Bot, He's trying to troubleshoot and get that mic going. He's tapping it away like that's going to make something happen. But it is what it is. He can hear me, but I can't hear him. That's all that matters. If you guys enjoyed the show, smash that like, share this if you have not shared it. And if you have a spouse that gets hit on, let them get hit on. Makes them feel good. Until next time, it's your boy Rico. It's my guy Bot. And we'll catch you guys again next week, Friday. You'll probably see me back on Tuesday, and we'll get this thing popping. Until next time, it's your boy Bot for Rico. It's the Rico and Bot Show on the Buffalo Fanatics. We'll catch you guys on Clip. Peace. Go Bills, baby.